Hey everybody, what's going on? Happy Friday. It's a good day.
Yep.
I'm already I've already had like half a drink. Look, Tom got some pineapple juice today, so we're actually I'm getting some fruit juice, some vitamins.
Yeah.
Along with the
Ramen
pineapple juice. So yeah, hey everybody, how you doing? Yeah, CB saying Maggie Smith died today. Yeah, I saw that.
Who's that?
She's an actress, Dame Maggie Smith. She was in her 80s. I think she was 89. But yeah, I'd forgotten she was in the Harry Potter movie. She was Professor McGonagall. But yeah, Jeffy Art, I was just gonna say that exact thing. I knew her as Thetis from Clash of the Titans. I think that's where I first. I mean, she's been in a million things, but that's what I always remember her from. Because man, I love Clash of the Titans. I probably saw that 400 times when I was a kid. It was always on. So yeah, CB asked if I had a good birthday. I did. I had a very good birthday, even though we kind of had the edge of a hurricane.
Yeah.
Which there's a funny kind of story attached to that. But it seems a little bit dark in here. We lost power last night, so all the lights might not be the same as usual. I think maybe that one or that one is not.
No, I think they're the same.
Oh, okay. I tried to put them back to the.
Yeah.
But I can't remember. I can't really remember what they looked like.
Yeah, so we go see this movie. We might leave this for later. I don't know.
Yeah, don't review the movie because we'll review it on Monday.
Yeah.
And for reasons we're about to disclose, we didn't get to see the whole thing.
Yeah. We were watching the movie The Substance.
Yeah.
It was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's a great fucking movie.
We got to like the last 15 minutes and the fucking power went out in the fucking
movie theater
twice.
Yeah.
And then they said, sorry, we
can't fix it.
We can't fix it. So we didn't get to see the end of it. So they gave us a little fucking credit.
Little free passes,
Little free passes to go. We're going to go back and see it again this weekend.
So we'll go this weekend and see the end of it. But yeah, that's like the funny thing. So we went out yesterday. Our plan was we're going to go to Mount Dora and we're going to go to our favorite Thai restaurant. And at that point, yeah, the hurricane's like out in the Gulf, but the weather wasn't bad.
No, weather
it
was cool.
It was cloudy and it was like kind of windy, but that was about it. And when we got down to Mount Dora, like 75% of the businesses were closed, including the Thai restaurant.
Yeah.
So we're like, well, shit. I was like really looking forward to some masaman curry or something like that.
Yeah, so we go to the Indian restaurant.
But there's an Indian restaurant called Shiva where we had been before, and that was like right up the street, and that was open. So we went there and had like really good food. Then came back. I had like some work meetings and shit like that. And then we go to the movie theater, and the weather was not bad when we were driving there. Like I said, it was just really windy. And we watched...
Not really windy. It was just a little bit windy.
It was like a little bit windy.
Yeah.
And so we go in there, and we watch like 2/3 of the movie, and then all of the power in the building didn't go out, but the movie stopped playing, and so everybody like in the screen just went black, and so people started going out complaining. But then it turned out that all of the screens, and it's Altamont, it's 18.
Yeah, 18
screens. So all the screens had gone out, and they're like, yeah, we had a power surge. You know, we're trying to fix it. So we sat in there for probably like 10 minutes, and then they got the movie back going again. But then, like, it gets toward the end of the movie. I don't know how much the movie
felt
was
like
left.
there's about 15-20 minutes.
Yeah, there's probably about 15-20 minutes left. And then it went off again. And then at first they were like, yeah, we're working on fixing it. But then like he was just like, I feel really bad. But he's like, we can't fix it. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it was like getting kind of late at that point. It was probably like 9:30 or 10.
Yeah.
So they were like, just go to the box office and we'll give everybody free passes. But then like the people behind us, because it was fairly full. And so people were like, fuck, like what happened? You know what I mean? And so the dude that worked there, he was like super funny. And he had seen it. He's like, oh, this movie's so good. Yeah. And like the guys behind us were like, well, tell us what happened. I'm like, no, don't fucking tell us what happened. Yeah. I'm going to come back this weekend and I don't want it ruined. Yeah. I'm like, I'm going to leave. It's like, you can tell them what happened. Yeah. We're going though. So it's like, yeah. And then when we were driving home, the weather had gotten considerably shittier, and there was just like tree debris like all over the place. Yeah. You kind of had to duck and weave. And then we stopped at 7-Eleven to get iced coffees, and I heard a lady say that someone's roof had blown off in Apopka. Mm-hmm. And then when we were driving back home, like we're driving, and then there's a whole ass tree. Yeah. Just right across the whole road.
Yeah, there was a girl in front of me. She started stopping, looking at it. I got out of the car. And she started backing up like she was turning around. And she goes, I'm going around it. And I says, no, just go around the tree. She was going to do a U-turn. And she's looking at me like, what? She had the window down. I said, fuck it. I jumped in the marquee and fucking went around the tree. You know, because it was on the side of the road was flat and it
Yeah,
was
there was like just grass and
sidewalk.
like a sidewalk. So we just went.
I just went around it. It was like no event.
Because man, you'd have to drive all the way back to the fucking. It would have been a pain in the ass.
And then as I was taking off, I look at my rearview mirror and I see her coming around the corner, blinking her lights, like "Thank you,"
Yeah.
you know, because she didn't go around. She was young, 20s, but I went around it, and it was quite a bit of rain, but it wasn't that bad.
I've driven through much
rain.
worse.
Yeah,
like
just,
that wasn't even a hurricane.
Just wind and shit.
Like just regular summer afternoon storms that were like worse than that.
So we get home. We ended up going to bed. Wake up around 2 o'clock in the morning. Jen's going, the power's out. I was like, huh? Yeah, because when it would come back on, it would turn all the lights on because we have all this lighting, flicker like
and
smart
we
lights.
have column fans like on either side of the bed because it's hot in there, and it's like, and I'm used to the white noise, and when it goes out and it gets really quiet, like it wakes me up.
So it goes out, and I'm getting pissed. And I'm going like, man, I hope all that shit in the freezer doesn't thaw.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't want to fucking go out. I didn't have any fuel, and I says, I don't want to have to go out there and fucking go get gas at the Circle
Yeah, we
K
have a generator, but...
and hook up the generators at fucking 3 in the morning. A couple hours later, it came on, stayed on.
I think it was out for, because I think when it went off, it was about 2-ish.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't really get back to sleep because I was like, it was too quiet. And then it kind of blinked off and on like a few times. So like the lights and the fan would come back on. Or actually, no, the fan doesn't come back on, but the lights came on.
Yeah, what's funny is that I looked across the street and everybody had power across the street. It was just on our side of the street.
Yeah, it was just one side. I guess we're on a different circuit. So it wasn't the whole neighborhood. It was just our side of the street.
Yeah.
And then... So it blinked off and on, and then it went off, and I was like, well, shit. And then we were, like, laying there, and I tried to kind of sleep, but I couldn't because it was too quiet, and it was kind of getting hot. It didn't get too hot, though.
As far as hurricanes go for Florida, where we are outside Orlando, it's like a non-event. Really not a big deal.
Well, I mean...
There was just wind and debris going into the road, and you had to fucking go around a lot of tree limbs. I was impressed by that Mercury Grand Marquis I have. That was based on the Ford Crown Victoria cop car. It was the P-71 cop car, and also they used it here as taxis. The stretch version is like our Lincoln limousine, executive fucking livery vehicle. But that car was so fucking sure-footed and planted, and all that wind, side winds didn't matter. If that was that old Ford Taurus, it would have been all over the road. I barely even noticed it. And fucking going off road with it fucking was just easy. There's very little ground pressure. Big, fat tires. And the car's just long and wide and fucking very well planted. And I guess because it's it's a heavy car and it's kind of aerodynamic for a car that size. Side winds didn't bother it. So I was just like feeling like fucking secure. I was like, yeah, these bitches, the cops used to drive these things in weather much worse than this with no complaints, and I see why now. It's a fucking great bad weather car.
Yeah, it's like I don't like driving in shitty weather, but I will say that it was only the bare edge of a hurricane, right? I mean, we didn't get the whole full spectrum. It was out in the Gulf and it kind of hit the panhandle. So I will note though that when I worked in Daytona and I would be driving home from Daytona to Orlando, which is about an hour drive, in the summertime, the weather was way shittier than that just every day. Like in summer storms, like sometimes it was raining and windy so much that you literally could not see 10 feet in front of you because it was just like a wall of water, and you'd be like, well, I think I'm still on the road. I'm not entirely sure though. And it was like terrifying, and I had to drive it in that Taurus, which constantly felt like it was gonna fly off the road.
Yeah, there was a time we were going to the castle in that old Taurus, remember?
Yeah.
I think it was that Taurus.
Was it the Taurus or was it the Nissan? Because I had a Nissan before that.
Might have been a Nissan. Yeah, I think it might have been a Nissan. And there was just like no visibility.
Yeah, you could literally see nothing. It was just like water.
Yeah, the fucking I could see maybe like a foot or two past the hood. The fucking headlights just vanished.
And Florida does that a lot in the summertime.
I could see red taillights of the car in front of me, and we were all going maybe 15 miles an hour. And I didn't know where the road was. I was just following.
You can't see it. You can't see the lines at all.
Can't see the lines or the reflectors.
Terrifying.
I was just following the car in front of me. And eventually we drove out of it. But we must have, I think we drove probably 20 minutes like that. I was white knuckling it the whole way.
Yeah.
It was just a wall of water. And that wasn't a hurricane.
No.
It's just a thunderstorm.
That's, I mean, Florida has shitty weather, like, all the time. It doesn't even have to be a hurricane. I think that's why, like, people that grew up in Florida are just so, like, fucking mad about hurricanes. They're like, yeah, the weather's like this all the, like, every day in the summer. It's, like, not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Now, I did get a text from my mom, and a tree fell on her barn.
Okay.
But it didn't fuck it up too bad, it looked like. But she's like, well, I can't really, like, it's too big for me to move it. So she's going to have to, like, call some people out there to chainsaw it and, like, get it out of the way. But I don't think it fucked the barn up too much. Because that's a pretty sturdy barn that she's got. But yeah, I saw the picture in the text. So there was some damage, but I don't know. I thought it was pretty funny that I was in a meeting with the guy that owns the company I work for today, and he lives in LA, but he's originally from South Florida, and his brother still lives there. And he asked about the hurricane, and I said, yeah, we went to the movies last night. He's like, oh my god, going to the movies in the middle of a hurricane is like the most Florida thing ever.
Florida's like, it's like going down and feeding and petting the alligators.
I'm like, we totally did that. And we weren't the only people. There was a lot of people at the movie theater. There was a lot of people. Like, we were a Thursday night. We just went. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't a fucking squall and everything like that. Like, the power was mostly on and most shit was open, but...
I saw a video of a guy going down to the fucking bank of the fucking lake. I guess it was behind his house or his property. And as he was going down there, an alligator came up out of the water and ran straight at him and opened the mouth up, and he starts throwing the alligator chicken. And the alligator's just eating it up, and then when he gets done, the alligator's rearing up too. It's like upon its...
Hey, you got more chicken?
And then when he gives him the last one, you know, he just starts patting the alligator on the head like that. Yeah, and it gets down, and the alligator let him pet him. You know, he knew that alligator. Well, normally they wouldn't do that, but that alligator,
they'll see you.
That alligator knew that if he saw that man, he got fed.
But see, that's why it's pretty illegal to feed alligators.
Yeah, they'll remember you.
Well, because they'll become a menace then. Like, they'll be hanging out in your neighborhood, like, looking for food. Like, you know, like any
they just do that, yeah.
You're not really supposed to feed sandhill cranes either, but we've done that before.
Yeah, and I found out the hard way why you're not supposed to feed them.
Yeah, we found out.
They'll come up to the back of the glass doors and start knocking on the door. You think it's a human, and you open up, it's like 6 cranes.
They're just standing there looking at you.
Looking at you. You're like, no, I got no food. And you walk away, and they they'll be banging on the door.
They got their babies. I brought my whole family.
Babies. Yeah.
I remembered you from 2 years ago.
Yeah, they remember you. They remember. They come back.
You gave me some granola.
They remember what houses feed them.
Yeah. Man, that used to, like, at our old house, that used to scare the crap out of me sometimes because my office was only down this little short hallway, like, and then there was the back door. And one time, maybe it was more than once, like, the sandhill cranes came and, like, knocked on that door, and it's like, I just about shit my pants. I was like, well, who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And then I look, and there's a fucking bird.
Yeah.
Like, look at it like that. Like, hey, got any food?
And they're smart.
Yeah.
They remember you. They remember what you look like. And I think some of those birds that came to ask for food were little ones.
Yeah.
That got big.
Yeah.
They remembered where they got food before when they were little chicks.
They grow pretty fast,
They grow fast, yeah.
Like, I've seen them, like, when they're little, because they're little and yellow, but they're only like that for probably, like, a couple of weeks, it seems like. And then they're almost as big as their parents. You can tell that they're not grown, though, because they don't have the red feathers around their eyes. They're just, like, mostly gray.
Yeah.
But the adults have red feathers around their eyes. But it's, yeah.
So, today is Friday. This is our Sidetracks show, and it's basically open lines. Whatever you guys want to talk about. And we sit here and we basically get loaded most of the night with y'all. And half y'all are drinking. And we just bullshit, and we can talk about anything you guys want to talk about. And, you know, we'll share with you our alcohol, and y'all can buy us a drink. Just by dropping us a super chat. Yeah. But we're escorting you as a team into the weekend.
We're escorts.
Mm-hmm. We're online escorts. Yeah.
That's kind of dirty. I was gonna say too that for one of my birthday presents, Tom got me a really nice fancy like coffee cappuccino.
Yeah,
maker.
it's a ninja. It's a ninja. What do they call that thing?
Yeah, I don't know. What is it called?
What's called Ninja.
It's that multi-purpose.
Yeah,
you can
awesome. It's one of the best.
You can make cappuccinos with it. You can make iced coffees with it. I've been wanting one for like a long time because all I had up here in my office was a little 1 cup, like a cheap little 1 cup maker.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make the best coffee, honestly, but it was something. But yeah, so now I can froth the milk. I can make all kind of fancy shit.
Yeah, it'll froth up foam milk.
Ninja specialty coffee maker.
It can make iced coffee over ice. You can put any different kinds of glasses in there. You can tell how big the glass is. You can say I want real strong iced coffee, and it'll sit there and it'll brew it just right, and it'll go down into the ice and melt part of it. When it gets done, it'll fill the entire glass just like you told it to. It'll have the cream in there already and everything. Comes with a recipe book.
Yeah, I'm gonna try some of these recipes out.
I've had most of the recipes before. We got another one downstairs. It's just I wanted to bring one up in here so she didn't have to go down there.
So yeah, because I'm too lazy.
She can work here.
I'm too lazy to go upstairs.
Yeah,
because I was used to having like a coffee maker like right there. You know what I mean? So I could just like go over and make like a single cup whenever I wanted to.
But that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
You can get them online. They're about 120.
The little coffee bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it all comes apart so you can clean it.
I'm super jacked about it.
They're made really well. The one I've had downstairs for about 2 years, I think.
Yeah, so I've been experimenting.
Yeah.
I said even just a regular ass cup of coffee tastes a lot better out of that one than
you can make single cups, single cups of different sizes, half a pot, whatever, and it'll tell you how much water it's going to use because there's like a water reservoir on the side, and we can drop filtered water in there, and it's got all these little things that fold out. So if you're going to put a small cup in there to make say like iced coffee, and you're going to do it over ice. You want the cup closer to where it dispenses. You don't want it falling all that way. So you fold out a little ledge so you can see your coffee on there. Coffee glass. With the ice in it, ready to go. Ice and cream are already in it, and the sugar.
Yeah, I haven't done the iced coffee yet, but I've done like a couple. I did a cappuccino. I did all the other
Got a super chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Victor.
Victor, what's up, Victor?
Gave us a very generous super chat. Happy birthday, Jenny. Thank you very much. Oh, speaking of which, I also wanted to give a shout out to Dermot, who gave me some money over PayPal for my birthday. So thank you very much, Dermot. And we also have a new patron named Gear. Now, he's here in the chat, like, under a different screen name, because he said, I just went and joined Patreon, so he actually did. So, yeah. So, thanks, you guys, also. And thank
Victor
you very much,
said he had
Victor.
the Ninja coffee bar.
Yeah.
There must be a bigger one.
I always kind of, I always
Maybe
just wanted one, you know what I mean? Because, like I said, I just got that cheap-ass, it's just like a cheap-ass one. It's so cheap, I think it was $10, seriously. Like, I think I got it at the dollar store.
It was less than $10, I think. I think it was more like $7 or $8.
Yeah, I think I got it at the dollar store, like I said. Because I was like, look, I just want coffee. I need a coffee dispensing machine, and I don't care how much it is. And it's so cheap that it didn't even have automatic shut-off. You had to remember to turn it off like every single time, because like most coffee makers will shut off like after a particular time, but that one did not. It would just stay on like all fucking day if you forgot to turn it off. So I'm happy to have like a good one for a change.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a bunch of other cool shit too. I got a nice corset and all kinds of stuff.
I don't know if Xanada's in here, if he's listening to the live stream. I'm just talking to him. Also known as Xanada. I don't know, depending on what account he's on. But so Victor, it must have been that Ninja coffee bar that made you gay in the first place, right?
Yeah, you should have said the Ninja coffy bar made you gay.
Yeah, Ninja coffee bar might make a motherfucker gay. Especially you start messing.
I wonder if it'll make me gay.
I don't know.
I guess we'll find out.
If you mess with that espresso too much, it might.
Yeah, perhaps. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Phantom said, "Is the substance going to be Monday's movie review?" Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But like I said, we have to go back this week. So don't tell me what happened at the end, because we haven't seen the end yet, because the fucking power went out at the movie theater.
And we were loving it.
Yeah, I was like super into it. And like it seemed like everybody at the theater, you know what the weird thing was? We were going to go to the Lake Square Theater, which is a little bit closer. And they only had one showing at like 3:30 in the afternoon or something like that, and it was sold out on a Thursday. And I was like, that's weird. And so, like, in the middle of fucking, I guess, that's Leesburg, I think. But yeah, it's like not a big area where you'd think that it would sell out. But yeah, but there was a lot of people. Like, when I bought the tickets in the morning, there was only 2 other people, but there was like, I don't think it was full, but it was It was pretty full. Like,
During
for
the
a Thursday
power
night.
outage, I was saying shit in the fucking to the guy that worked at the theater, and the people were laughing at the shit I was saying. I don't remember exactly what I said. I said, "Don't tell me now," that kind of shit. They start laughing. But
Yeah, I was like, no, I'm gonna come back and watch
yeah,
it again.
I could tell by everybody else's comments that everybody else in the theater. We were in the front 3 rows. We were the only one up there in the front 3, but behind us it was all filled.
Yeah.
And it wasn't one of the big theaters. It was one of the smaller ones. And I could tell by the comments, people were talking about. They says they mentioned Cronenberg, and it was like body horror. People knew what it was, and it had all different ages. It was it's a good flick, real good.
I mean, everybody
Real
seemed
good.
like they were super into it.
It really kind of felt like a Cronenberg movie to me.
It reminded it reminded me
Same kind of
most
topics.
of was actually Brandon Cronenberg's first movie, Antiviral. It reminded me kind of that a little bit.
Yeah, a little more.
Just like aesthetically.
Victor says you only turn gay if you make too much pumpkin spice latte.
Oh, well, see, I'm in danger then.
Yeah.
Because I love pumpkin
gay.
spice. I love pumpkin spice. Man, I was mad because I went to Dollar General yesterday to get some more creamer, and they didn't have no fucking pumpkin spice. I'm like, yo, it's fucking fall. Come on now.
Yeah.
All they had was they had butter pecan. That's good.
Yeah.
Because I've had that before, and they had like salted caramel and shit, but like they didn't have no pumpkin spice.
Hey, Victor, how long you been on test now? About a year? You can answer later. But I know he's on that shit. Sanita's getting ready to go on. He's scared, though. He's still scared. Scared of giving himself injections.
Well,
it's easy.
Well, you were too at first. You were kind of like freaked out about it, but you get used to it pretty fast.
Yeah. After the first time you do it, you're like, oh, okay, not a big deal.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. And it doesn't like hurt at all.
No.
Yeah, Xanada said happy birthday, Jen. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Victor says, Jenny, you're safe. It doesn't make you gay. It just makes you like dick.
Okay,
I already like
dick.
dick.
You already like dick. Okay, so Xanada's here.
So it's all right. CB said, I put Monster in my espresso coffee. It was one hell of a fucking 3 days without sleep. I'm like kind of tempted. I usually only make 1 cup at a time because I'll have like 1 cup in the morning, and then sometimes in the afternoon I'll be like, yeah, I'm going to make another cup of coffee. I'm kind of tempted to make a whole pot, but since I'm on that clenbuterol too, it's just like, man, if I drank a whole pot of coffee, my heart would probably explode.
No, it's got a very good safety profile.
I mean,
that's sold over the counter in a lot of countries. There hasn't been any reports of any problems with it, as long as you're not ODing yourself. They got some dudes that were taking like 500 micrograms of that shit a day. You're only like on what? 40?
I mean, it's just 2 pills.
40.
2 pills, however much that
2
is.
pills, 20 each is 40.
I mean, like I said, the only side effects it's had for me is it makes my eyelids.
No. 80. You're on 80 micrograms. Yeah.
It makes my eyelid twitch.
Yeah.
Like pretty much all the time, which is kind of annoying.
What's Victor saying? He's answering me.
Well, can I?
Okay,
Let me finish what I was saying. And it makes me like super dizzy sometimes. Like even when I'm sitting or laying down.
Kind of lowers your blood pressure, and she has low blood pressure.
And I have super low blood pressure anyway, like naturally. So anything that lowers it even further is gonna make me like fall over. So it's done that a couple times. I almost fell in the shower the other day. So I was like getting in the shower and I was just like, whoa, like the room started spinning. You know what I mean? And I was totally sober, so I know what you're thinking. Yeah, Victor said, I've been on TRT for like a year.
Yeah.
I just started working out though. Been doing more cardio before, but I think I need to be lifting.
Yeah.
I've lost like 30 pounds though.
Yeah. How many milligrams have they got you on a week? And are they giving you Clomid or HCG to keep you from keep you shooting live rounds, or do they just give you straight test? You can take just straight test, but it ends up being birth control. You start shooting blanks. Let me get you some
shooting blanks,
blanks.
which maybe is what you want. You're not sure, but
I like to shoot something because it just feels better.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I kind of like that too. Well, like I said, I'm my old ass. I can't get pregnant anyway, so I'm not worried about it. Yeah, Xana said, my family has a history of heart problems, so I just want to make sure it won't kill me on accident. Well, I don't know. I don't think there's any danger of that, honestly. It's very safe. There's a lot of things that could kill you by accident. I know this probably doesn't make you feel any better. But it's like, I don't know. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Honestly, Tom was just kind of like, he looked into all this stuff and he's like, well, do you want to take some of it? And I was like, yeah, whatever. I don't really care one way or the other. And I really didn't worry about it. Like, none of it really made me feel all that weird or anything like that. Like I said, I I didn't even notice most of it. Like, I didn't notice any side effects. I have noticed side effects with the clenbuterol, but that's not really a steroid or anything like that. But they're minor. The dizziness is a little alarming, but I kind of had that before. It's just like I had that before, but it's a lot more pronounced. Like before, I would have it like if I stood up too fast, I'd be like, "Whoa, I'm gonna fall over." You know what I mean? But now it's just kind of like I'd be laying down and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna fall over." Oh wait, I'm already laying down. You know what I mean? Or like when I sit up, I'm just kind of like I'm gonna fall over even though I'm sitting.
You hear these words like clenbuterol and shit. It sounds like some real heavy duty fucking drug. Other countries, they'll just fucking sell it over the counter. And one of the common things is like seasonal allergies, because it helps respiration. Makes you breathe easier. Thing is that it's banned in sports, because you could take it and do sports and you can breathe better, so your output's better. So you can't, like, if you're doing a drug test in sports, you can't take that. You can't take Clen.
You're gonna get busted.
Yeah, but
we're not.
It's very inexpensive. It's not, the patent's long gone, so of course these drug companies here can't make any money off of it, so they don't fucking hand it out. They don't want anybody. It's not really common in the United States. That the common we use a different version of it called albuterol.
I've seen that before, like when I had coughing.
Yeah, the only difference is albuterol has like only like a 6-hour half-life. It's got a real short half-life. Clenbuterol has like a 26-hour half-life. It's got a very long life in your system, so it's more bang for your buck. But for some reason, the U.S. didn't want to deal with it. I guess I've heard doctors say that a lot of things that they come up with for the FDA are just kind of arbitrary. Probably has to do with what company makes what and backroom deals, that kind of shit. There's a lot of good European drugs that are fucking highly effective that you can't get in the United States because the drug companies here can't compete with it.
Zach says, I started taking prep recently, and for whatever reason, it's making me a lot hungrier than usual, which sucks, because last I weighed in, I was 178, and I want to get down to 165.
Clen kills all my hunger. I never get hungry.
He's, like, never hungry.
Never.
He has to be, like, reminded.
Yeah.
I still get hungry, but not as much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, like, sometimes, like we went out and ate Indian food yesterday, but then, like, we got snacks for the movies, but other than that, we didn't really...
Yeah.
We didn't eat when we got home. We didn't...
On this, I could probably go 2 days without eating.
I don't know if I could do that long.
I could probably do 2.
Yeah, it's not real...
It's not real uncomfortable.
Yeah. Jeff Yard said, I've actually had Italian espresso cola from a New York deli. Acquired taste, but man, will that wake you up. Yeah, I bet.
Oh, I've had that shit. What's that shit called? It's got a funny-ass fucking name. They love it. It's real bitter. It's like cola. It's super, super bitter. I fucking took a slug out of that shit and fucking went through that. Fuck no, I'm not drinking that.
Yeah. They like really, really bitter stuff.
I thought it was going to be like a refreshing soft drink. It's all in Italian on the outside. I think it was a blue and white can. They did have something really good at that Italian deli, though. It was this little round pill box that you could open. It would unleash a hole, and you could shake out these little black pills, and they were pure anise. Black licorice, but they were just like a powder, kind of like a Tic Tac. But it was called Taboo, Tabu, with an accent on. I think it had an accent or like a crase over the fucking U. And what was funny is that there was some old school packaging. They had a minstrel on it, from what I remember. Yeah, like a black dude with a fucking top hat.
That tracks.
Yeah, white lips and everything. It's called Taboo. And that was like the fucking... You're
like, you're right, that is taboo.
Yeah. That's not what they were talking about, though. It was saying it's black. They're just saying the shit's black, man. But they love it. It's like hardcore Italian shit. And they didn't change the packaging, man. That's their traditional packaging. It's got a minstrel on it.
That's crazy. I have seen like some shit like that.
Yeah, it's like straight out of the 30s.
Yeah. There's like, what? It's traditional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was white with green.
CB said, I only did cocaine one time. I did it out of my girlfriend's belly button. But I didn't like it. It had no effect on me.
Yeah, it wasn't
good. I don't know. The only time I've ever done it, it didn't seem to do shit either.
We got ripped off, though.
But yeah, I kind of feel like maybe that wasn't good shit. You know what I mean?
Well, we didn't pay for it anyway. It was
That's
free.
what I mean. Somebody just gave it to us. they'd bought it from somewhere, and they were like, "Hey, want some?" We're like, "Okay."
Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't pay for it, thankfully, because
Yeah.
I was like, "This isn't doing jack."
Yeah. Victor never did answer me. He might have stepped out.
Zach says, one of the first few times I went to the gay bar, the old dude bartender made a scotch and soda, and it was so strong I almost puked from the first sip.
Yeah. He's trying to get in your pants, man.
He put some
Yeah.
nefarious shit in there.
Yeah. There was this one time where I was going to Providence, Rhode Island. They had a really good fucking goth event that was happening at this place, and I'd never really been there. Never been to this particular place. So I was living in Boston at the time. I think it was almost like an hour and a half drive. Might have been 2 hours to get there. So I left early to make sure I'd be there on time. And I showed up probably about an hour early before the place had even opened. Probably about 4. It was like in a club type area, but they were all fucking normies and shit. So I ain't going into these fucking normie clubs.
No, I wouldn't.
Gothed
either.
out like a motherfucker.
Well, especially I wouldn't if I was a girl. Like,
Yeah.
You're probably safer if you're a dude. But...
So I looked down. I saw this bar with a whole bunch of old dudes in it, and it was fucking real chilled in there, real fucking nice. And I look in, and I see that they had in these cardboard cutouts of like Spock that we have.
Mm-hmm.
They had one of fucking Tom Cruise in his underwear with his socks
Okay,
and
so
shit.
you knew what was up.
And I looked up, and it's nothing but I was going, this is a fucking gay bar.
Okay, you're safe.
So I went in there because you can be safe in there.
You're safe in there.
I go in there, man, and it's nothing but these old queens, like in their 60s and 70s, and they fucking it's like parting the Red Sea.
They're like, ooh.
Woo, you know, like that. And I go and sit down, and
Look at
fucking all of a
him.
sudden I just got rushed by these old men. Fucking, how are you doing? What's your name? Would you like a drink? The drinks were just coming from everywhere. And I says, okay, guys, look, I'm not gay. I'm just getting ready to go to the goth club next door. Oh, no, it's okay. And
That's okay.
And they're just sitting there just pouring drinks on me, you know. They're friendly dudes that just, they must have spent like fucking $100. I couldn't drink all this shit. I had to shut him off. I told the bartender, I said, look, don't let these... I didn't say old queens. I said, don't let these old dudes fucking buy me more drinks. I won't be able to walk out of here. And the bartender was like, that's what they're counting on.
Yeah.
And I
They're going to take
fucking
advantage
laughing.
if you're pretty young,
Yeah.
They're slipping some roofies in there.
Yeah. No, everything I drank came from the bartender.
Yeah.
It never passed through their hands.
I mean,
Yeah.
that was, how old were you then? I mean, you were still
Probably about 25,
Oh,
26.
so you were still pretty young.
I was pretty as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was gothed out. I was in like a frock coat with fucking bondage pants and big old tall 40-hole Doc Martens. Fucking, looked like Dave Vanian.
Mm.
Yeah, like Dave Vanian with a fucking...
Without the white stripe in your hair.
Didn't have the white stripe, but I had ruffled cuffs and the fucking ruffled fucking
Man, Dave Vanian was
ascot
so
and all that
hot
shit.
back in the day.
Goth makeup, fucking false fangs in. I didn't have contacts, but
Yeah.
those old queens are eating that shit up. Yeah, that's just how it is.
Well, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I didn't have to buy anything.
Nice.
Stayed in there for about an hour. Probably had about 4 drinks. And I was just like
Didn't
fucking.
pay for nothing.
Yeah, and they were fucking strong.
Yeah. See, that's what happens. You get in there like looking like you're all
Yeah, and I didn't request nothing.
looking all fancy.
The first one asked me what I would like to drink, and I said, "Give me a gin and tonic." And fucking, they gave me a fucking top of the shelf fucking gin and tonic. I says, "Don't spend all your money, you know, like that." You know, he says, "Oh no, it's okay." And then fucking,
They
I'm
don't
getting
mind.
random drinks, fucking shots.
Nice.
You know, just this is for that from that gentleman over there, and I'm looking. The dude's like fucking 70, waving. How you doing?
Well, they probably
Thank you
go
very
in there all the time, and it's just kind of
Yeah,
like
they were all
see the
regulars.
same people.
They're
and
all
it's
regulars,
just kind of
yeah.
like, so, you know,
Yeah.
it's
And
kind
they
of
was-
exciting when a
Yeah.
new pretty
Yeah,
dude comes in there.
and that was
Ooh, who's
that was
this?
the early crowd waiting for everybody to show up.
Right.
You know, they're waiting for the younger guys to show up.
Phantom says, in my opinion, Late Night with the Devil and Beetlejuice 2 are the best films of 2024 so
I
far.
don't know, man. I'm gonna say fucking. I think when I
I'm-
see the end of the substance, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
we'll
put
see
that
how
in.
it ends because we didn't get to see the
Didn't
whole
see
thing.
the end. Yeah.
We're gonna go back this weekend and like watch it again. But I was gonna say, I think, I don't know, man. Late Night with the Devil is probably still my favorite because man, I fucking loved that movie. But this one, this one's really good. This one's really good. I really like it.
Yeah.
And it seemed like and like I said, it seemed like everybody, and it was weird because all the other people in the theater, it was just like a total mixture. It's not like who you would think it would be. It was old people, young people. It's just like from like everybody. And it wasn't what I would expect, like going to see a body horror movie, unless some of them didn't know that's what it was going to be. But I don't know. They all seemed like they were kind of down. But you could hear everybody like reacting to like the fucked up shit. It was like shit. You know what I mean? And even the dude that worked there, because he loved it. He was like, oh my god, this movie's so good. And he's like, man, it was like way more messed up than I was expecting.
Yeah.
It's pretty. Because he asked us, he's like, hey, did anybody throw up yet? And we're like, nah, that's all right.
Yeah.
Some pretty weird shit happens in it. I mean, I've seen grosser, but yeah, I'm just gonna say if you're not into needles and fluids, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, Zach. What I was asking was it wasn't Zach. I was talking to. It was Victor. The question was, how many milligrams per week do they have you on? I'm assuming you're going through a TRT clinic right now. That's where I started. Then I went solo. I got a better deal on the black market, or a bigger and better deal. I just wanted to know how much they had you on per week in terms of milligrammage, and what did they give you? Did they give you Clomid, HCG, or did they let you just run solo and let you go like birth control style, where you lose reproductivity? Just didn't know what your protocol was exactly.
Zach said, are there any good gay bars over in your neck of the woods?
Where's he talking about?
Like, not around here that I know of.
That's all around Orlando.
Because, yeah, this is, like, pretty rural out here.
Yeah.
If there's any gay bars, I mean, if I was opening a gay bar, I would keep that shit, like, way on the DL. Because it's pretty redneck.
Out here? No, we wouldn't have a market.
Yeah, I don't think
want that shit to be downtown. Downtown.
The best one that I've been to down there is Southern Nights.
Southern Nights.
Which isn't downtown exactly.
No.
It's kind of a little bit outside of downtown. I guess it's still there. It's weird because it doesn't look like much from the outside. It kind of looks like a dump, but like the inside is like fabulous.
Yeah.
It's like it looks really, really good in there.
Yeah, and it makes it
and
good.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And it has a really, really nice like back patio, this massive like back patio.
We were going there for goth nights. And
like it was like a fetish party.
And then fetish net parties that were happening. And they have like a straight up dance club with several bars in it. And then there's a bunch of these little patios with fucking lights and outside bars and waterfalls and fucking shit like that happening. And then there's a theater with seats and everything, a stage, and they'll put on shows in there. That was fun. But for some reason, I think it kind of lost its popularity during the time that we were going there. I don't think they were getting as many people as they used to in the past. So there must be a better club that they were going to. But still, you could have done a lot with that club. It had all the facilities you'd need.
I remember being surprised the first time we went there because, like I said, it looks small. It looks really small and kind of not shitty, but I mean, it's
incognito.
It's very incognito. It's just, it's not like in a downtown club area. Like literally across the street, I think there's like an insurance office and like a cheap ass motel or some shit.
Yeah,
and there's like nothing around there.
Well, the cheap hotel across from it was one of the attractions.
Yeah,
so you could go over there and fuck.
Yeah, I guess so.
But it was like a modern kind of dance discotheque, but then outside it was more like tiki bar, tiki lounge.
Yeah,
had that vibe, and then it had a theater that was generic. You could set it up as anything, and they did everything there. Over the years, drag shows, fetish shows, all the bartenders were gay. I don't think they had even straight ones there. People from the porn community were usually in there during the nights we were there. Just straight porn stars. A lot. Remember that they had some female there. I didn't know who she was, but
yeah, that's right.
And a lot of the people in our scene that were going. From our scene that go to the fetish nights are also kind of like porn or porn adjacent, like those two gigantic titty girls.
Yeah,
they're in there.
Do they still make content, don't they? Or at least Pinky does.
Yeah, they don't make them together anymore. But
yeah,
they're still friends though.
Yeah, because they used to make it together. They shared a man, didn't they?
Yeah, for a while.
I don't know if they still do. Right? Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen them.
Yeah.
Full Metal Nosferatu who is the name of Count Orlok, who comes in like all the time, said, "Happy Friday. Glad y'all are safe. I had to check in with my family in Orlando, and they're fine. Yeah, we just had the power out a little while, and like we were driving home last night, and a tree fell across the road. But you know, that's about it. We've been through a lot worse."
He's doing 30 milligrams subcutaneous daily. Testosterone, cypionate, Clomid. But I stopped taking the Clomid because I think it was giving me anxiety. It shouldn't. It wasn't that.
You can take Clomid. Clomid is just a serum. All right, it's a hormone blocker. And what it does is it blocks up the receptors inside your gonads and blinds it to the amount of testosterone that you have. So it blinds it to the amount of testosterone that's in your bloodstream. So it thinks you're low on test, which will cause your testicles to make your own naturally produced hormones, and it will keep your fertility. So I recommend going back on that, man. I think it's 40 to 50 milligrams a day. You should take it. It shouldn't have any weird mental side effects. It's not that kind of a drug. 30 milligrams subcutaneous every day, every weekday. Let's see. So you're probably around 200 and something milligrams. What's 30 times 7?
210.
210. Yeah, okay. That's right. It's around 200. Yeah, that's about right for replacement and a little bit more. I did well on 200 milligrams. And then I tried 400 one time, and it was even better. I think the most I've ever been on it in a month, most testosterone I've ever done in a month is 800 milligrams. And I didn't notice any negative side effects. But you see, the thing is, it all just depends on the person. Some people can't take that much. And then testosterone, there's impacts to taking it. I don't recommend taking any more than about 400 on a week on a regular basis. 400, and then anything else you want, like Primobolan or fucking Deca or NPP is good. You know, they're both 19 nortestosterones. I like those. But no, you need to I would get back on that Clomid. That wasn't what was causing it. If you're paying for it, take it. You should be at 200 milligrams. You should be almost totally shut down by now if you're not on that.
Phantom said, Demi Moore was also in The Seventh Sign. I remember that movie.
Yeah.
In which she gets fully nude. I don't remember her getting nude, but it was a long time ago that I saw it. And it probably didn't make as much of an impression on me as it would on a dude. But, well, I mean, we'll save this for Monday because we're going to do the substance for the Monday review.
She's nude a lot in it.
And we haven't seen the end of it yet. Because if you weren't here at the beginning of the show, there was kind of a hurricane that glanced us and the power kept going out at the theater. So finally they're like, look, we can't fix it. We'll just give you a pass. So we didn't get to see the whole thing. But we saw about 2/3 of it.
Demi Moore's nude in a lot of this movie.
As is Margaret Qualley.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nudity in this movie.
I was looking at her and I was going, man, for her 50s, I don't know how, you guys can look it up. I don't know exactly how old she is. I think she's a little bit older than me. She might be 55, 56 or something. I said, she looks pretty good. And I was like, you know, another 90 days in the gym and some gear, man, that would take care of any of the problems that she does have. I don't know why she... And I realized, I was talking to Jen when we were thinking about it. I was thinking about it, and I was going, you know what? She got out of shape to do that movie.
And she's not really out of shape.
And she's not really out of shape, yeah.
Like, considering her age. But I imagine that they wanted her to look, like, not super toned or fit or anything like that.
They wanted her to look aging a little bit.
They wanted her to look like she was, like, a little bit in comparison to
the younger one. To the younger competition. Because I'm looking at her and I was like, shit, at her age, you know what I mean? Just, you could fucking put her on Primo and fucking 90 days later, she'd be fucking toned and fit. Like, you know, because there's a lot of girls in porn that are in their 50s. And a lot of people don't know that they're in their 50s. Unless you do the math, you know. And, you know, it's not natural. You're on hormones and stuff to get it done. But it's easy. It would be easy to do it if you had the core that she was presenting in the movie. I was like, you know, that's only 30 days. That's only like fucking 3 months away from being fantastic. Why isn't she doing that? And I bet you she came off cycle and fucking kind of let herself go for about a year. That's what I think she did.
But she still looks good in that.
She still looked good, though. Yeah, she's very, very pretty. She's had facial work. I could tell that she had had a facelift.
Yeah, you can tell
You
because
can
her
tell.
mouth is kind of
Yeah,
pulled.
it's you could tell that her skin is kind of being pulled in a little bit of directions, but it's not bad at all. She for her age, she's stunning.
And it like goes into the narrative of the film too. Like I said, I don't want to talk about it too much, but man, she was fucking great in this. And I'm gonna give props to like whoever did the makeup for this too, because the makeup in this is fucking fantastic. It looks really good. Yeah, Full Metal Nosferatu says, my family live on a golf course / condo community. Dad is the president, LOL. Thank you for making me a top fan on Facebook. I intend to spread the word for y'all. Well, thank you very much. We would appreciate that. Yeah, we don't live on a golf course. There is, well, we kind of do. There's a golf course in here, right? Yeah, there's a golf course and like a little restaurant.
Yeah, this was known as a golf course community.
I just don't think about it because
We don't really do it.
We don't golf, and I can't really see
it's
it.
It's called
from our house.
Black Bear Reserve in Eustis.
Black Bear Reserve.
Yeah, in Eustis. It's got a restaurant here,
right next to the Dollar General,
and it's evidently a big, nice golf course. I've seen only like where you pay to start it, but I haven't toured around it.
Yeah, because we went down there because we've been to the restaurant there, which is called the Bear Den. The restaurant is, I mean, you could eat in there, but it's not.
It's more like a bar.
It's more like a bar. It doesn't have like a real like good atmosphere or anything, because it's just like people like, golfing. They'll come in there and like get a sandwich or something, and
yeah, you can call down there and go pick it up.
We've done that a few times where you just call there and then you just go pick up the food.
Yeah,
and they have like pretty decent food too.
Yeah, the prices aren't that bad.
Yeah, and it's right there. Like we could literally like walk to it. It's easier to drive, but you can walk to it if you want to.
It's little stuff like patty melts and hamburgers and
fish
fries
and chips.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just regular, like I said, like sandwich stuff, kind of pub food. But yeah, it's pretty good for all that. And Phantom said to me Moore was in the first episode of Tales from the Crypt. That's right, I remember that. Yeah, she was in. It's funny because I was thinking about her. Because when we were watching the movie, I was thinking about her in fucking what was that movie from the 80s? St. Elmo's Fire. I remember her from that. She was in a ton of shit back in the. Wasn't she married to or dating Emilio Estevez for a time in the 80s, or am I remembering that wrong?
I don't know. Yeah, Oscars. I don't know if you were here when we started talking about it, Oscar. We saw The Substance and got to the part where they give her the
final kit
to stop the process, and the fucking power went out, and they said they couldn't start it back
Hurricane.
up. So they gave us credit to go see it again.
Yeah.
So we'll see it this weekend. But we were loving it.
Yeah, we were really into it.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen it, and we haven't seen the end of it, but I'm confident it's gonna have a fucking badass end.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen it, man, go see it. It's a good movie. It's gonna be, I would think, one of the best movies of the year so far. And the guy that worked there, the usher was like, "Oh yeah, this is a great flick. I can't believe, yeah." And I'll tell you the end if you guys want to know.
And we were like,
no. Some of them wanted to hear it.
We were like, "No, I'm leaving." Yeah. I didn't want to know what happened at the end because I said, "No, we're gonna come back this weekend and and rewatch it."
But the thing about The Substance is that, well, I'll talk more about it on the review. The Substance is kind of. The idea started with Hollywood's probably fascination with, performance enhancement and to stay young for a long period of time. So they're talking partially about hormone therapy, but this thing's even better, even more high tech. The Substance, and I'm not going to get into it, but the thing is it comes with a heavy penalty. But you don't really think it's going to be a penalty until you kind of see how it plays out.
I mean, it's a horror movie. You know some bad shit's going to happen.
Right.
And then you have to, and I'm sure like the question everybody will be asking themselves to be like, well, would I take that shit? After seeing this movie, no, I would absolutely not take this shit.
You take The Substance once, and a better version of you pops out your back. You go unconscious, and it comes like something like like a cicada coming out of its fucking shell like that.
Yeah, kind of.
And you're the same person. It's just two different versions of you. An older version, a younger version that's more perfect. And y'all have to live together now and take turns. I thought at first when I was watching the movie that the original host got to experience the experience of the copy, but you don't.
No,
They're two separate people that come from the same source. And it doesn't work out. And evidently,
you
I don't
might
think it
imagine.
ever works out.
No. Well, it wouldn't in real
No.
life.
Because you'd have a
If that
version
was
of
the
you
thing
that's a
that
lot
existed.
better than you running around.
And you're like, why the fuck would I want to go
Yeah.
back to this old ass
Yeah, and you're not. You
rundown
can't
version?
Yeah, and you're not living the better version's life.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as presented, I would absolutely not take the substance. No.
No.
I can get why somebody would, but I could foresee it going wrong the way that it goes wrong in this movie.
I would do it if your consciousness was transferred to the copy. And then you lay dormant until you transferred back. You know what I mean? Because you could trust both ends.
Yeah, because it was still like you had a through line.
It's you, so you could control what was
Right.
happening. And at least you're getting the benefits of the life of a younger, more perfect version of yourself.
Right.
So you can experience that.
Yeah, I feel like if that was
Yeah.
at play, yeah, maybe that would be more tempting.
That's
but
what I
the
thought
way
it was-
it's set up,
Right, that's what I thought it was offering.
I don't
That's not
think
what it's
that.
offering, no.
no. Well, maybe that's the thing. Maybe they thought that it was that.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't want to.
Right.
Don't talk too much about it and we haven't even seen the end. Nobody tell me what happens at the end because
Yeah.
we're gonna go back this weekend and see it because we're gonna watch the whole thing because we got almost to the end.
Yeah.
I
It's
think
a
it
tight
was-
flick, man. It's tight.
I think it, like I said, the power went out about 2/3 of the way through.
Yeah.
Like right when Margaret Qualley woke up and saw that Demi Moore had been like binge eating.
Yeah.
And she was like, what the fuck? And then like it went off. And then it went off for like 10 minutes. But they eventually got it back on. All the theaters went off. It wasn't just
Yeah.
ours. And then they got it back going. But then when it got to the point where Demi Moore was going to get the final kit from the
From
safety
the
deposit
services.
box,
Yeah.
then it went off again. And they, for a time, they were like, yeah, we're working on getting it back on. But then like after 10, 15 minutes, they're like, yeah, we can't fix it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Side quest is in. What's up, side quest?
Phantom says, no way in hell that back baby could be born without fouling up the inside of the body beyond repair. I know, but it's just a movie.
Well, it was very much like a Cronenberg movie. You're just
Yeah.
kind of going with it. You know, you're like, okay.
Yeah, I was just like, all right.
Yeah.
I'll suspend my disbelief. Like I said, yeah, it was very Cronenbergian, but not in the sense that it was like a ripoff. You know
No, it's
what I
not
mean?
copying
It kind
it.
of had its own thing. And like I said, it kind of reminded me more of Brandon Cronenberg's movies
Yeah.
than David Cronenberg's movies.
Yeah. It didn't have David Cronenberg's visual style. Just the concept was kind of something like he would come up with.
Yeah.
Might be a little bit better because sometimes Cronenberg's concept, especially as he got older, kind of became kind of muddied. Like I'm not quite sure what's happening here. You know, some of the times this one is pretty clear. The story's pretty clear.
He went more toward kind of like crime thrillers later. Like I don't think you've seen any of it, like Eastern Promises or you'd probably love those. Honestly, they're not body horror. They're like I said, they're kind of more like crime thrillers, but they're fucking great. But yeah, so and he kind of had more of a. He seemed like very amused. He always had kind of like a Blackley comic kind of take on corporate culture. Also, like he seemed very amused by that, you know, because all of his movies always had these like faceless corporations with these people with these fucking
They were
soulless names and shit like that,
still-
which I always thought was very
Still,
good.
his early flicks were fucking cool, man.
Yeah.
They were low budget, really cool, like The Brood, Scanners.
Man, I love The Brood.
Yeah.
I think probably like The Brood and Dead Ringers are probably my favorite movies of his. Although it's hard to pick. I mean, all his movies are good.
They showed a pretty good, interesting trailer called Wolfman. So they're bringing a werewolf movie's coming. It looked pretty good, but
Yeah, that looks pretty decent.
just we'll see. It's about time for a good werewolf movie. It just has to be done right. And they called it Wolfman. And when they showed it, there's one scene where I guess they kind of show the werewolf or the Wolfman, and you only see him like from angle slightly behind, and he does kind of look like Lon Chaney in the Wolfman fucking kind of outfit.
Yeah, I don't know
if he stays that way or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're like if it's essentially like a remake, kind of like a Dark Universe spinoff. I mean, they did make a Wolfman movie with Benicio del Toro, and I think fucking Anthony Hopkins was in that shit too. I remember seeing, when did that come out? 2008, I want to say. I could be totally wrong. I remember seeing that in the theater and kind of liking it, but it got kind of shit on. And honestly, I think it's streaming on Amazon Prime or something like that, and I keep meaning to like rewatch it to review it because I'm like, I remember kind of liking this, but in the years since, people are like, man, that movie really wasn't very good. But I don't know. I kind of want to rewatch it though.
Yes, of course. I liked the Underworld films.
I didn't.
I haven't seen them in a long time. I think I only saw one of them. I don't know if I saw the other one. How many are there?
I don't know. I only saw the first one.
It had vampires and werewolves. I thought it was okay. It's pretty good. Along the lines of Blade. I really liked Blade 1 and 2. 3 fucking sucked, but Blade 1 and 2 were really good. I actually heard a rumor that Wesley Snipes is coming back to do a Blade. That'd be awesome.
I had heard that too, actually.
Yeah, that might just be in development hell though. But Wesley could probably do it. He's old, but he still looks good. Every time I see him, he black don't crack. I mean, he hasn't aged that much.
Yeah.
He could go back on cycle and get into training and fucking he could look like Blade again. Wouldn't take long. He really ought to do it just to fuck with Sly, because Stallone is still doing that shit.
True.
Okay. And the dudes of that action movie era, they're all friends, but they all do kind of like there is still kind of an underlying tone of competition between the two. They're trying to one up each other.
Yeah.
Although I'm going to tell you, Sylvester Stallone's the best one out of them all.
He's still in those Samaritan movies, right?
Samaritan.
I think we saw the first one, and I think we might have reviewed it. Yeah, we saw it.
Yeah, which one was that?
Isn't it like it's kind of like it's not a super.
Oh, Samaritan. That's a superhero movie. Yeah, that's pretty good. I liked it. Yeah.
I think they made another one.
Yeah.
Oh,
they
yeah.
did?
I think.
I didn't hear anything about it.
We saw the first one.
Yeah.
And it was pretty good.
Yeah, there was a Samaritan too. Let me look.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I thought I heard about it. Oscar says Dog Soldiers is the greatest werewolf movie of all time. I'm not going to argue with you about that.
I think it's good, but I think Wolfen was fucking good too, though.
We need to do Wolfen.
Yeah,
that wasn't
Wolfen
even
was
like that was a werewolf movie,
Yeah.
but it was almost like more like a crime thriller.
Yeah.
Oh, and also there are werewolves.
And also Howling. The Howling.
The Howling
was
is good
really
too. There's honestly werewolves are not like my favorite monster, but there are a lot of. And American Werewolf in London is also fucking great. But I don't know, man. Dog Soldiers is pretty fucking good. I really like the werewolves in that, and like all the characters in that are good. You know what I mean? It's just that's a great fucking movie.
I think there's only a Samaritan one.
I could have sworn. Maybe it's upcoming.
Yeah.
Because I could have sworn I saw like a trailer or something like that, like for a second one.
Yeah.
Unless I'm totally. Maybe I dreamed it.
You dreamt it. The only Samaritan is 2022.
Okay. Maybe I did dream it then.
Yeah.
If you guys have Shudder, they started doing a little documentary series called Horror's Greatest. And so far they only have 5 episodes, and I think that's all they're doing. It's just like a season 1. But each episode takes like a different subgenre, I guess, and kind of talks about it. And then I think the first one was like horror tropes, like Final Girl and blah blah blah. And then they did one on giant monsters. They did one on Japanese horror. They did one on horror comedy. And then they just put one up that was all about Stephen King adaptations. And I watched that last night, and that was actually really good too. Oscar says no, Wesley Snipes looks old as fuck.
No. Last time I saw him would have been in Coming to America 2. He's in that. He looked good.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot he was in
and
that.
he looked great in The Expendables. I think he was in Expendables 2 or 3.
I only saw the first Expendables.
Yeah,
Did you show me the other ones?
I don't know.
I remember seeing the first one and being like, yeah, this is our... It's like action movies are not usually like my genre. Some of them are good, but I'm not like super into them.
I like the Expendables 1, 2, and 3. But with 3, only the director's cut, not the theatrical cut. The theatrical cut is based upon fucking Chuck Norris's fucking stance of no cussing. All right, kind of weird shit like that. He's in it. Okay, so the theatrical cut is fucking. There's no swearing in it. All right, but in the director's cut's a lot better. You can get that on Blu-ray. It's pretty good. Now I heard that Expendables 4 sucked. That Stallone kind of sold it off to another company. He's in it a little bit, but not really. He doesn't really count. And then it's like almost kind of like another movie. That was the problem with Blade 3. Wesley Snipes was in it, but it wasn't really about Blade. It was they were trying to introduce a team of fucking vampire heroes that director wanted to fucking do a spin-off about. You know, this is bullshit.
Yeah, Phantom's they're talking about werewolf movies. The Ginger Snaps trilogy, yeah, those are great. Yeah, the Ginger Snaps movies are great. Both American Werewolf films.
Yeah.
Howl, yeah, Howl was good too. Silver Bullet, Bad Moon. I kind of like Bad Moon. I rewatched it like recently. I'm like, yeah, that was pretty good. And that werewolf film with the blind military vet who takes out a werewolf in a retirement community. That is Late Phases, I think, is what you're thinking of. That was a great fucking movie. I don't think we've ever reviewed that, though. I think there might have been a sequel to that, now that I'm thinking about it, which I haven't seen. Oh, and The Company of Wolves. That was a great movie, too. Not exactly a horror movie. It's more like a fairy tale, kind of based on Little Red Riding Hood. But yeah, also great. I think I reviewed that on my Flickers of Fear channel a long time ago.
Xanadas mentions that he sent us... was it King of New York? It was a great flick.
Yeah, that's right.
Wesley Snipes is in it.
That's right. Christopher Walken was in that,
in
and then
it also,
Wesley
yeah.
Snipes was in it too.
That's a good movie. It aged very well. And but he said Wesley Snipes was in that, and he thinks Wesley Snipes is one of the best black actors of the 90s. I'd have to agree. He was fucking awesome actor for the 90s.
You should probably see Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar, because Wesley Snipes is in drag in that.
I remember that.
Along with Patrick Swayze and John Leguizamo.
Yeah, there was a little thing where they all had to do a drag show. Kurt Russell did a drag thing.
Well, I
I
think
think it started with Dustin Hoffman and Tootsie.
Well, no, because the thing about it, I think the movie that started that mini trend was Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Is that what it was?
Which was like an Australian movie that had what's his name from Prometheus in it, that was in Memento.
Yeah, I don't know that guy's
What's
name.
his fucking name? Guy Pearce. That had Guy Pearce in it, which is also a great fucking movie. I think I have it somewhere, actually.
Guy Pearce did an awesome fucking Snake Plissken movie. It was actually like Escape from Earth or Escape from Outer Space. All right. But where he plays Snake Plissken in it, but they changed the names around and you never know. It's called Lockout. But if you see the movie Lockout, and if you were to think this is a Snake Plissken movie and this is who he's based on, you'd go, oh yeah, that's it. That's it. And it's a good movie called Lockout. I liked it. Now, Guy Pearce, he brings something a little different than Crussell. He's not fucking Snake Plissken. A little too smart ass, a little too much of a gum chewer, you know. But it's still a good movie.
Guy Pearce has different energy than Kurt Russell.
Yeah, a lot different.
They're both good.
They're both good, yeah.
But different energy.
I like to watch that movie imagining that was Kurt Russell fucking and being Snake Plissken. And I like it even more.
Like, I have this fantasy where I'm watching this movie. I'm
fantasizing that that's actually Kurt Russell doing that shit. Yeah.
Instead of Guy Pearce.
Yeah, and it's like a 30-year-old Kurt Russell. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now this fantasy's really getting
he's like 30-year-old Kurt Russell.
Tell me more.
Fucking women, man. But Lockout, I think, was a good forgotten action movie. Had really good villains in it. It was all these. Guy Pearce has to. I'm gonna call him Kurt Russell. I'm gonna call him Snake Plissken. He's got to go up to an orbital space station that has all these prisoners in it, fucking frozen in stasis. And he has got to go up there and save, I think it's the president's daughter, once again, who's on that fucking thing.
That bitch is always getting kidnapped.
When all the fucking prisoners get let loose. So they sent him on a fucking
she needs a better
mission to rescue the president's daughter and get her back down to Earth. All those fucking convicts in there. Yeah.
Yeah, Victor said The Wolf of Snow Hollow was good. Yeah, I liked that too. That's kind of, that was like a horror comedy, but yeah, I like that one too. Full Metal Nosferatu says Rising Sun with Snipes and Sean Connery is a great movie. Yeah, I think I saw that in the theater now that I'm thinking about it. I don't think we've ever reviewed it.
I've seen it, but it's been a long
Yeah,
time.
I've seen it too. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I saw it in the theater and I might have seen it once like on cable after that, and I remember really liking it, but I don't think we've ever reviewed it. God, we reviewed so many movies. I forget which ones we've done and which ones we haven't. John Gora said Tootsie in that Robin Williams movie was way before that, Mrs. Doubtfire. Yeah, they were. They were like a lot of kind of drag movies, but I kind of feel like in the was it like the early 2000s, I want to say, there was kind of like a little mini boom in like drag movies. I don't even know if it was a mini boom. It was just a handful of movies that all came out, but. And I think that was kind of kicked off by Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. John Goris also said, I heard Carpenter tried to sue the people that made Lockout. I don't know if he won. They settled or what. They probably settled, I'd imagine. I'd have to look that up, though. Because, yeah, I mean, you can tell that it's obviously in the same universe, and they just changed everybody's names. It's still a good movie, though. Phantom says, I just watched all 3 of the Stepfather films, starring Terry O'Quinn in the first 2. And the cheesy but really good, but definitely purchase worthy. Yeah, like I reviewed the first one, and I think I've seen the second one, but it was a long time ago, and I don't think I ever reviewed. I don't think I've ever seen the third one though. Oscar says never seen Late Phases. Oh, it's good. It's Venezuelan, I want to say. I could be totally wrong about that. I thought it was a South American film. But I might be misremembering that. I thought it was Venezuelan. But it's really good. It was on Shudder for a little while, but I don't know if it's on there anymore. And I think there was a sequel, but I haven't seen it. Oscar also said Guy Pearce would have been a good Bond. Yeah, he probably would have, now that I'm thinking about it. Xander said Robin Williams' best performance was 1 Hour Photo. Yeah, I agree. He was fucking great at that. He was good in Insomnia, too.
Who you talking about?
Robin Williams.
Oh, yeah.
CB said Priscilla, Queen of the Desert is my favorite film. It's so good. I mean, I've seen it probably like a couple dozen times. But it's like, it's really, really fun.
One of the fucking cool things about Wesley Snipes, though, fucking is that he's doing these roles in a time when Hollywood was really fucking worried about box office numbers. And they thought having a lead role with a dude that was black in it would fucking maybe cost them fucking money at the box office. And Wesley Snipes proved that, no, you could be black. Not light black, dark black. Yeah. And fucking bring some fucking people to the box office. White dudes fucking liked him. He was fucking great as Bang, what was his name? As the vampire guy. Fucking,
Blade.
What's that?
Blade.
Blade, yeah, Blade. He was also one of the best villains that I liked growing up in Demolition Man, which is one of my favorite movies. Stallone's in it. He plays opposite Stallone. He doesn't. What's his name? Simon Phoenix, an original old school criminal coming back to San Angeles with like the new version of fucking San Diego and Los Angeles merged in this kind of soft, totalitarian Chinese style dictatorship. You know, with fucking, what do they call it? Social credit scores. They had all that. That movie was prophetic, man. Go back and watch fucking Demolition Man to see how much that fucking movie held up. First of all, the science, the special effects hold up very well. But the story holds up even better. And I think Sly had a lot to do with that story and screenplay. But the matte shots look great. The cars were pretty spot on. The mentality of the movie. Stallone's great in it. And fucking Wesley Snipes fucking he fucking blows it out of the water as the fucking bad guy in that. And he's a real likable bad guy. His whole thing is he just wants to be an asshole. He loves violence and chaos. That was great. Kind of like the Black Joker. That was a great flick. He was in a lot of good fucking movies. Yeah. Those were the days, man. You remember? Those were the days, man. Another one that Stallone movie that aged pretty well. I didn't like it when it first came out, but Stallone's Judge Dredd. I watched it recently and I was like, this movie's pretty fucking good. But we were getting spoiled back then. Because they made good action movies on a regular basis, with fucking Arnold, Stallone, Carl Weathers would be in movies, fucking, they'd pull out Wesley Snipes. That was just a good time. And then Die Hard came out. Die Hard kind of flipped the script where an action hero didn't have to be jacked as shit. He could just be like a regular guy. Where he ran around without shoes, getting his feet cut up from glass. That was another cool flick. I think that was before Demolition Man, though. I think by several years, though.
Okay.
But I remember when Die Hard came out. I saw it in the theaters, and to me, I was like, at that time, I was like, man, this is a fucking great action movie, and I felt a tremor in the force. I was like, man, the movies are gonna change now, because you don't have to be fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger or a huge dude to be in. A physically big dude to be in an action movie.
You talking about Die Hard?
What's that? Die Hard, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Die
that
Hard
kinda
2 was
changed the
good
game.
too. When Die Hard 2 came out, I liked it. I don't remember much about 3. But that was a good era. But like I said, we were getting spoiled. Because Hollywood came out with good action flicks on a regular basis. And it was all new. You know. Now it's hard to do something new.
Well, it's just because, they've been making movies for more than 100 years.
Yeah.
Well, and they were writing novels for many centuries
Yeah.
before that, so it's like kind of everything's been done. But you can always come up with a creative take on something.
Yeah.
Because I've always... I still see new shit nowadays that I'm just like, oh man, that's a good idea. I wish I thought of that.
One of the new action movies that came out that I fucking loved it, and they never came out with a sequel. And it was new because it had a female lead. Alita Battle Angel. I fucking loved that movie. Where's part 2?
Yeah.
And everybody who saw that movie loved that movie. I got it on Blu-ray.
It was a good movie, yeah.
Yeah,
we saw it a couple times.
Yeah.
Carla Tyson says, Die Hard, Christmas movie? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I think we watched it last
We
Christmas.
watched it on Christmas, yeah. Or not on Christmas, around the Christmas
Around
season.
Christmas time.
Yeah.
That one and Christmas Chronicles with Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
I usually watch...
And Chronicles 2.
Yeah, that one's not as good, but
Not as good, but
it's still good.
Yeah.
And I usually watch like the Rankin Bass specials.
Yeah.
And I also usually watch A Christmas Horror Story, that anthology movie. You know what I mean? That's a good... And Gremlins, that's another good Christmas kind of horror movie. Anyone going to see Megalopolis?
It looked good.
It did. Like, we saw the trailer for it when
Yeah.
we went to see The Substance last night. And it does look really good.
Yeah.
So probably we'll go and see that.
Now, they made a bunch of comments about what we're talking about.
Where?
Scroll up. About
Okay. Okay, let's see. Talking about Wesley Snipes. Yeah, Xana said Wesley Snipes had a good style about him, good name too. I watched the movie Money Train as a kid and liked it, but I guess it sucks. Haven't rewatched it.
John
It has
Gora said
Snipes and Woody Harrelson.
John Gora said that I heard that Carpenter tried to sue the people that made Lockout.
Yeah.
Probably true, because
to me, I watched Lockout and I'm like, yeah, this is Snake Plissken, is what they're talking about.
Yeah,
this
I mean, it was pretty obvious.
This is Escape from Space.
Yeah.
That's what they're talking about.
Full Metal Nosferatu said FX's very dark adaptation of A Christmas Carol with Guy Pearce as Scrooge was mind-blowing. I remember seeing like the previews for that, and I like meant to watch it, but I never got around to it because it did look really good.
Yeah.
So I probably will at some point. Yeah.
Phantom said that Wesley Snipes in The Art of War was really good.
Yeah, a lot of people are
I don't think I've seen that.
recommending
I got to see that one.
like Wesley Snipes movies. Like New Jack City. I remember
Yeah.
really liking New Jack City, but I haven't seen
Yeah.
it for years and years.
Yeah, Xander said that he was in New Jack City. That's one of the best gangster movies.
Yeah.
Bullet to the Head with Stone was great. I have it. I have Bullet to the Head on Blu-ray. And I had that bitch next to the fucking player because I wanted to see it again. I'd only really seen it once. So that was on my... But I got sidetracked. I got to put that thing back in there and watch it. Bullet to the Head was good because one of the things... I lived in New Orleans or lived outside of it for a while. In past Christian, Mississippi. We'd go there over the weekend. It did kind of capture a lot of the New Orleans element. But what I liked about it is that Stallone was pretty advanced in age. He was in his 50s, maybe late 50s, but he looked great. He looked really good in that movie.
Old Restless says you have to check out Rare Exports, A Christmas Tale. So interesting. Yeah. Either I reviewed that myself or we reviewed it together.
Yeah.
Like a year or two ago, like around Christmas time. I really like Rare Exports.
Old
It's really
Restless
good.
said that Die Hard 3 is better than 2.
I
haven't seen it in a long time.
I don't
got
even
them all.
remember anything
Yeah.
about Die Hard 3.
I got them all on Blu-ray.
I remember the first two pretty well, but I don't remember the third one. I think I only saw it once, maybe. Yeah, Xana said, I said Cliffhanger is a bad Stallone movie, but maybe the only bad one. Cliffhanger was pretty bad.
I don't remember that one.
Also, I don't like Over the Top.
Yeah, boring.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Is that a hot take? Probably not.
Another one.
Wasn't that the arm wrestling movie?
Yeah, arm wrestling movie.
Although it didn't have that great scene where he broke that dude's wrist.
Yeah. And
okay,
also,
that was rad.
And also the military academy that the kid comes from in the movie is the military academy.
That's right. I remember you saying that.
Yeah, it's SCMA on Signal Hill, California.
Yeah.
Although I don't think it was actually filmed there, but they used all the cadets from it.
Right.
And it was all kind of...
So just think, if he'd been there at the time, you could have arm wrestled Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah. I was gone by that time.
No, I know.
Santa says he's going to send us New Jack City, maybe. Yeah, send it.
Yeah, that'd be rad, actually.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I think I saw that in the theater, too. I used to see movies in the theater all the time.
Yeah.
Now, the worst Stallone movie I saw personally was when I have it on Blu-ray. Because I think I got it for $3.99. All right. So, well, I haven't seen it. It's called I See You.
Oh, yeah. Did you show me that?
Yeah, and I think EYE. I See You. It's supposed to be a horror movie.
Supposed to be. Being the operative phrase there.
Not really. I'd heard that the villain or the murderer in it was going to be a monster originally, but then they re-edited it to make it a dude. So I don't know.
So not quite as fun.
I got bored during it. Yeah, I was like, eh.
If you showed it to me, I don't remember a single goddamn thing about it.
I think I saw it on my own.
Oh, okay. Because I know sometimes you watch some of those by yourself.
Yeah.
Because I watch a lot of horror movies by myself.
Yeah.
But sometimes we watch them together. And sometimes if he sees an action movie that he really likes or he thinks I'll like it, then we'll watch it. Or if I see a movie that I think... Because remember the other night, remember how I kept telling you that you would really like that movie Odd Thomas?
Yeah.
Because it was based on Dean Koontz, and I said it kind of reminded me a little bit of The Frighteners.
Yeah.
And so like the other night, he's like, well, I want to watch it. So we watched it the other night, because I've seen it before. I reviewed it.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I thought you would like it. It seemed like something you would like. It had that poor guy, Anton Yelchin.
Yeah, he's dead now, huh?
Yeah, got killed in like a stupid freak accident.
So he backed over him or some shit.
No, I think how did it happen? I can't remember, but it was just like a stupid, I think it was his own car.
Yeah.
Like, I think his own car backed over him. If I remember, I don't remember all the details, but it was just like, it was a fucked up, and I was like, shit, man, that could like, it was something that could like happen to anybody, and it kind of like terrified me. I'm like, oh shit, that's so messed up. But yeah, because he was real young. But he's great in that movie. It's kind of more, it did kind of remind me of The Frighteners. It's not quite as dark, but, and it had like a sad ending, whereas Frighteners had kind of more of a happy ending.
Yeah.
But, and I had forgotten how sad the ending of Thomas was. I was like, oh yeah. Like when it got to the point, I was just like, oh yeah, I forgot it ended like this. That's a bummer.
I liked it. I didn't like it as much as The Frighteners, but...
Well, I mean, very few movies are as good as The Frighteners.
Yeah.
So
that movie gets shit on so much.
I don't know why.
I thought it was a great movie.
And everybody loves Peter Jackson. Come on, it's a Peter Jackson movie.
To me, it was as good as fucking Back to the Future 1. I liked it.
Like I said, I kind of feel like it was just... I think it has a lot more of like a cult following now than it did when it came out. Because it came out in like 1996, and I think people just didn't know what to make of it, honestly.
Yeah. The timing was bad when it came out, probably.
Yeah, probably.
In terms of the...
Because it is kind of a weird...
It was kind of a throwback at the time.
Yeah.
I remember watching it, I was like, man, this is kind of a throwback movie to the 80s.
It was a bit.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's kind of like a black comedy, and that's always a hard sell. Because a lot of people don't... They're like, well, is it a horror movie, or is it supposed to be funny, or what? You know what I mean?
It was both, yeah.
Yeah, but like, it's... A lot of people that aren't super into either genre, like, don't know what to make of it, I feel. You know? Oracle says, I'm looking forward to the new season of Wednesday on Netflix. Yeah, that'll probably be good. I really liked the first season, actually.
Old wrestler say he got crushed himself between his car and a
That's
gate.
right. Yeah, I knew it was like something like that.
Old wrestler still said that Jake Busey was too scary. Jake Busey did a great job.
He was great in that fucking...
Yeah.
He was great in that.
Yeah.
And then it was his girlfriend. Wasn't that Dee Wallace?
Dee Wallace, yeah. Dee Wallace in her 40s. I remember being a kid. Well, I wasn't a kid. I was in my 30s. No, I wasn't in my 30s.
It was 96 when that came out.
So I was, 25, 26, probably 25. And I was going, man, that's a hot old lady. I said, man, that lady's fucking hot. Yeah, I thought she was fucking super hot at it. Running around in her little gothic fucking pinafore type outfit.
Shooting motherfuckers.
Shooting motherfuckers with little combat boots and stuff. She had a pump shotgun with a flashlight taped to it, or fucking mounted to it. Yeah. So that's pretty good. Jake Busey's ghost.
Yeah.
Fucking encouraging her to do it. Lee Ermey appears in it as a ghost.
Yelling at all the other
ghosts in the cemetery to keep them all in their grave. Things must be controlled. Get back in your graves. Yeah, and he's in his fucking drill sergeant outfit.
Well, now see, speaking of Peter Jackson, we were watching the Shudder Horror's Greatest series, and the horror comedy episode, of course, they're going to bring up Dead Alive, because that's like one of the best horror comedies ever, which is a very early Peter Jackson movie, and probably, like, one of the guys on there said, I think this is probably the wettest movie ever made. Like, there's so much fluid. Yeah. And I can attest that it is, but it's so over the top that it's just hilarious. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know how many fucking gallons of blood and puke and pus and shit like that they use for this, but and Tom has never seen it, but they showed like scenes from it. He's like, man, we need to see that. I'm like, yeah, you would probably love it. It's super gross, but it's like, it's really, really funny.
I don't know if any of you guys have seen The Frighteners. You remember the scene where Frank Bannister, it's Michael J. Fox. He's playing a character named Frank Bannister. He goes to the cemetery, and Lee Ermey fucking jumps up out of the fucking graves and shit. His ghost. He goes, Frank Bannister! You low-life scum, You and your frighteners going around frightening the good people of fucking whatever the villa was, this fucking town he lived in. And he goes, my tour of duty is another 55 years. And he goes, I got a plot. I got a cemetery plot with your name on it. Your ass is going to be mine. Fucking ectoplasmic fucking piece of shit, basically. And he goes, how you doing? Hey, shut up. He's trying to ignore it. Because he can see ghosts and shit. It's fucking hilarious scene.
Just get kind of used to it after a while, I guess.
He goes, you think you can push me around by these other little ectoplasmic pieces of shit? And he tries to punch him and shit. He turns into just weird shit. Frank Bannister tries to tell him to get lost. Couldn't push him around. He was too strong of a ghost.
Yeah, Old Restless said Dead Alive cracks me up. Goriest film ever. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it. That lawnmower scene at the end is just like, that's just one of the best things ever put on film, honestly. It's fucking great. It's fucking great. SideQuest here said, you know what movie creeped me out a little bit, and I'm not really sure it was meant to, was that animated movie called Nine. I remember that. I saw that in the theater. About the little potato sack man. The whole movie didn't have any music. It was just weird. I remember that being, and it wasn't really even a horror movie. But yeah, it's like an animated film. I don't even remember what the plot was. I think I saw it in the theater when it came out, whenever that was. But I see what you're saying, though. It is like a little bit creepy, even though I'm not sure it was meant to be. Oscar says, I don't like comedy in my horror. Generally, I mean, horror comedy is not my favorite. But that said, there have been like a lot of ones that I really, really like. Like, I mean, Reanimator, Shaun of the Dead, Tucker and Dale versus Evil, Evil Dead 2. I mean,
A lot of them have comedy in it. You don't realize it.
That's true. But yeah,
like Evil Dead had a lot of comedy in it.
Well, no, Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, I would consider those.
Right.
I would consider those straight up horror comedies. Now, American Werewolf in London is generally considered a horror comedy, but that's like a lot more, like more of a British sense of humor. So it's kind of like more restrained, but it's still like super funny. You know what I mean? Like it has like a black sense of humor to it, which I really like. But overall, I see what you're saying, because when I watch horror movies, I like it to be fucking scary. You know what I mean? But sometimes I'm in the mood just for like a fun, just like a fun horror movie.
There are some horror movies that aren't even really quite horror movies. Like The Fog. It doesn't have much horror in it. But somehow, not much.
It's just kind of creepy.
But it's real creepy. It ends up being a horror movie. And I really liked The Fog. I thought that was a cool...
I like that too.
Carpenter flick about some... Basically, they were kind of like the ghosts of a bunch of lepers that had been fucked over by this town. They were kind of like pirates, the way they should. And they came in with a fog to get vengeance because they fucking stole their gold. And it was like the church that stole their gold. I thought it was an awesome flick. And what was her name? The one that was up in Nikki Lane, or no? What was her name of the DJ?
The one that Adrienne Barbeau was
Adrienne
playing?
Barbeau and her boobs played the.
Adrienne Barbeau and her boobs.
Yeah, and her boobs. Yeah.
Featuring her boobs.
Yeah.
Because she always brings them with her, you know what I mean?
Both of them.
They're kind of a team.
Yeah, both of them. Whenever she's in a movie, her and both her boobs are there. Fucking Adrienne Barbeau was awesome.
Like I said, she never just leaves them at home.
No. I just don't. But she played the role of a fucking.
She had like
radio
a boy
DJ
name, like Ricky or
Ricky
or something like that. I can't remember.
and,
I'll probably remember it like 15 minutes from now.
And she's doing a radio show. There's a DJ up in the top of a lighthouse. Wasn't it a lighthouse? An old abandoned lighthouse?
Yeah.
Overwatching the bay. And it was pretty... I just thought it was a cool flick. It kind of left you with like a creepy feeling when you were younger. You know, it probably wouldn't do much to me now, but... And it was in the context of the time. They wouldn't show much back in those days usually until Friday the 13th came out and shit. And you go back and watch Friday the 13th, you don't see much there either.
Yeah, because we rewatched... Because we have like the whole... I don't think it's not all of them, but I think it's the first.
I got them 1 to 3, I think.
Yeah, or 1 to 3 or 1 to 5 or something like that. And so we were rewatching all of them, and we rewatched the first one, which I've seen like multiple times, but I probably
like it. It's a tight flick.
Yeah, but I haven't seen it for probably like 20 years, and I was like, this is a lot less gory.
Yeah.
Than I remembered. Like back in the 80s, you're just like, holy shit, it was like so much like Friday the 13th, but now you see it and you're just like.
Not much there.
It's pretty tame.
It scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
It's pretty tame.
But what I liked even better when I was a kid was fucking part 2.
I loved part 2.
Jason appears, and then the last girl makes it back to Jason's lair, and he's got his mom's head sitting there with a fucking sweater. Remember that on that table with the candles and shit.
And she like puts the sweater on, like pretends to be pretends to be the mom.
Man, I was in my teens, maybe 14 or 15.
She was fucking great. I love her.
And,
81?
Was it that far back? Okay, so I was about 12 or 13.
Well, the first one came out in 1980, I think.
Yeah.
And the second one was maybe a year.
I was watching it on cable, so on paid cable, like on Cinemax or Showtime. So it was probably a year after that.
Because holy crap, they used to show
about
part
13, and that shit fucking scared the shit out of me. Yeah, loved it.
Honestly, I think the second Friday the 13th is my favorite one.
Yeah, I think the second one.
The fourth one, which is the one with Corey Feldman in it?
Fourth one. It was kind of coming back.
Like the final chapter. That one was good too. That's probably my second favorite.
Making kind of a comeback. Yeah.
But the second one is still my favorite. And I think it's mostly because Jason didn't have the hockey mask yet in that one.
No,
he still
a bag on his head.
He still had a bag on his head.
Yeah.
And I think because it had, what was her name? Amy Steele. Is that her name?
I don't know.
She was also in April Fool's Day, which is another great fucking... That was 86. I love that fucking movie. It was like a slasher, but it's like a parody of a slasher, but it's still kind of a good slasher.
Although Friday the 13th Part 3, I liked it on cable. I thought it was just more of the same, and it was like trying to top Part 2. When I went back and watched it, like recently, it's a more of a crude movie. It's not made that well. It doesn't. The edit's not that good. Not as good as I remembered it. Only thing I did remember was that part. I think it might have been part 2. It was 3D. Remember that eyes would pop out of people's head. It was supposed to be 3D, but
look at yo-yo.
Yeah, but we would never see it in 3D. We only saw it on fucking cable.
It wasn't the
it
same
was part
experience.
2 where the fucking that one female counselor strips nude and walks out into the water. Was that 2 or 3?
I think all of them had that, Tom.
Well, no, she had this fucking killer booty.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the second one.
It was the second one, yeah. I remember that scene. Fucking me and my fucking boys in Mississippi would be like counting down to see that movie.
Where's the butt?
Where's that ass? It's coming, guys. It's coming.
Where's that ass?
Oh, yeah. It was back in the day. Damn, we were like 13, 14.
Yeah, didn't the other guy like shoot a dart at it or something?
No,
not an actual dart, but
he used I think it was a slingshot.
Slingshot,
and shot a little pebble at her in her fucking booty cheek, and she was wearing real tight shorts.
Her booty cheek.
Yeah, and
she was like, "Hey, what the fuck?"
She's like, "Hey, yeah," and like, "Ah, where's the fucking round?" Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I think the second one is the one that I've seen the most number of times.
Yeah.
Because it was on HBO or Cinemax or whatever, like, all the time. In the 80s. All the time.
Of the Friday...
And I taped it. I had a VHS. So, like, every now and then, let's watch Friday the 13th 2 again. Me and my brother.
Out of everything that I've ever seen of all the Friday the 13th movies, 2, I think, is the defining one.
I mean, that's kind of the one that I like
and
the
best.
most.
Most legitimate. Because it's got Jason in it. He's not in the first one until the very end. He pops up out of the water as a little boy.
Although his mom is fucking cool.
Yeah, his mom did all the killing. But part 2, that's when Jason was introduced. He doesn't have a mask. He has a fucking bag on his head with a single hole in it.
Like the Phantom Killer of Texarkana.
Yeah. It's probably where they got the idea.
I'm thinking probably, yeah. Because they made Town That Dreaded Sundown about the Phantom Killer of Texarkana, which was a real case. That came out in 1976.
Yeah.
And that was the same fucking director as did those fucking terrible Bigfoot movies.
Yeah.
Like Boggy Creek, the Boggy Creek movie.
Yeah.
Now, the first Boggy Creek was good, but the second one was, like, awful, but so awful that it was kind of awesome. And that's my favorite, one of my favorite MST
when 2 came
episodes.
out, I only had part 1 to refer back to. And when 2 showed up, there wasn't any supernatural elements. Fucking Jason wasn't an immortal being who couldn't be killed. There wasn't any of that fucking bullshit yet. I just thought he was a fucking crazy ass fucking retarded dude living out in the fucking woods.
Right.
And that was so much more plausible, so much more scary. That movie fucking... And in its day, when you were in your early teens, I know some of y'all are our age, and it did the same fucking thing, especially if you're living in the South. Because I was living in the South at that time. Where you wouldn't want to look out your windows because there weren't street lights. It was just dark woods out there. You know what I mean? And fucking, for all you know, Jason's out there. Or something like that. Yeah. That's some wild shit, man.
That could happen.
Yeah. Some dude with a bag on his head and fucking coveralls.
Well, like I said,
shows up.
It did happen in Texarkana.
It has happened, yeah.
He didn't have overalls on, as far as I remember, but he did have a bag over his head.
Yeah. Dude that don't bathe.
And he just went and shot, like, couples in cars.
And he's living out in a shack somewhere with just candles in his mom's head. He didn't even have a job. He just walks around. Fuck, that's some wild shit, man.
Tom's like, that's my future career prospect.
And he didn't talk. I don't think he could talk.
Well, like I said, it's better that they don't talk.
Yeah.
I mean, look at all the iconic... Okay, well, Freddy Krueger aside, but, like, Michael Myers, Jason, they don't talk.
No.
It's much scarier if they don't talk.
Yeah.
And the thing about Freddy is that Freddy was much scarier in the first movie. He did talk in the first movie, but not much.
You mean part 2?
No, I'm talking about the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Okay, Freddy.
Yeah. Not Jason.
Not Jason, Freddy.
So he does talk, but he's, like, super scary, like, in the first one, even though he talks. He doesn't make as many quips. I kind of feel like after that, they kind of made him a comedian, and so the movies got, like, less and less scary. Although 3 is still awesome. And some of the other ones, I saw them all. Like, I like them all, but...
I really only remember...
They were more funny than scary. The first one was actually pretty scary.
I only remember the first one, and I remember thinking that it was okay. And all my friends, when we rented it, we all thought it was okay. We liked it. But that was around the time that fucking Reanimator came out. See?
Well, yeah, that came out the
way
same...
into that.
That was
We would watch Herbert West over and over fucking again, the Reanimator. And then From Beyond came out, and we fucking ate that shit.
That was a couple years later, yeah. I mean, Reanimator, fucking... You guys know how much I love Jeffrey Combs.
I love Jeffrey Combs. Undead head goes down on a fucking pretty ass woman.
On a naked woman.
What
Barbara Crampton.
It was Barbara Crampton. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. And you're 14, 15, 16 when that shit's going on. You want to go down on Barbara Crampton. You get that.
I want to go down on Barbara Crampton right now.
The fucking head go, the fucking headless body, put the head down in there, We're all looking at each other like, oh, man.
They went there.
Yeah.
Not many movies went there in the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, props to fucking Stuart Gordon, man. He's just like, yeah, we're gonna do that shit. We're gonna do that shit.
We love From Beyond. We love From Beyond too.
There's a Reanimator and From Beyond are great fucking movies. Great.
Yeah.
Fucking movies.
They never made a From Beyond 2.
They never did. But that's okay. It didn't need one.
Reanimator kept going. And there aren't any bad Reanimator movies.
I like all the
good.
Reanimator movies. The first one's the best one.
Yeah.
But I think they were all good.
I don't know. 2's good. 3's good. They're good. They're just different. And then I want to throw in like a related movie that doesn't have Jeffrey Combs in it. Was Dagon. Dagon was the same kind of project.
Yeah, it's
might have been the same company. I think.
Lovecraftian.
Lovecraft shit, and it should have had fucking Combs in it. But I guess they couldn't get him.
I mean, Dagon to me, it doesn't get talked about a lot, but shit, that is one of the most Lovecraftian Lovecraft movies.
Yeah, and it's kind of accurate to Lovecraft type stuff.
It's not an adaptation of Dagon though. It's more like an adaptation of Shadow over Innsmouth.
Innsmouth, yeah.
Like about the village of fish people.
Yeah.
It's that.
Yeah,
and they called it Dagon. They kind of cross-pollinated the two stories.
It's a real good movie.
I love that movie.
Yeah,
we have it. We've seen it like multiple times.
The only problem is it doesn't have fucking Jeffrey Combs.
Well, that's the problem with every movie.
It doesn't have Jeffrey Combs. Should have had Jeffrey Combs.
Every movie should have Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah. Well, when you're going to talk about Lovecraft shit, Jeffrey Combs better be fucking in it.
Otherwise, we don't want to know.
Yeah. He was in Combs was in another movie called Necronomicon. That was all about.
It was like an anthology.
It's an anthology, and you can't get it. I can't find it on Blu-ray.
We reviewed it a while back. I don't even remember how we watched it.
I liked it.
But yeah, it's good. I really
for a while
it.
You had a poor copy of it up on YouTube. But
maybe that's how we
I have Jenny got me a special edition Blu-ray release of Dagon. The Steelbook Blu-ray.
That's right.
Yeah.
I did. Because we were really into that.
Yeah,
I really like that movie. Spanish. It was filmed in Spain.
Filmed in Spain, yeah, but it's all in English. But I think From Beyond it was also, some of the later Reanimators were filmed in Spain, I think.
Yeah.
I think it might have been the same company.
I think Beyond Reanimator was shot in Spain, too. That was the prison one, right? I can't remember. That was good, too. Oscar said, did you guys watch In a Violent Nature? I haven't yet, but it's like, that's definitely on my list, because I know they just put it on Shudder, like, a few weeks back. So yeah, because I know everybody was talking about that, but I've been getting like mixed reviews of it. Like, oh, this is like so cool and like so fucked up. And then some people are like, oh my God, this was so boring. Like it put me to sleep. So, but I'm going to watch it though, because I'm kind of curious about what the hype was all about. I remember seeing the trailers like back before it came out in theaters. And I was like, that looks pretty cool. And then I just forgot about it. I don't think it even played here. Did it? Not that I remember. But yeah, they just put it on Shudder not too long ago. So yeah, I'll get around to it. Let's see. John Gore said, I know it's not as iconic, but I prefer The Burning. The Burning is a great film. And Tom Savini did the effects on that too. That was the one that had like so many, like a stupid amount of future famous people. That was The Burning, right? That I'm thinking about? Because that was the one that had the guy, he killed the guy with the hedge clippers, like through his fucking chest. Because I remember I used to have a documentary about Tom Savini where he talked about all the movies that he worked on, and he showed how like he did all the effects and everything. And I remember him talking about doing that.
When it comes to horror properties, there are a lot of horror properties where they have a lot of movies, but only like 2 or 3 of the movies are any good. The rest of them are kind of like Friday the 13th is one of them. They kind of progressively get more and more ludicrous. To me,
you kind of have to.
They become unwatchable for me. When it comes to horror properties, the best ones, Reanimator, fucking property. Every movie's good.
I liked all of those.
Psycho, every movie's good.
All of those are good. Strangely,
the other one, Phantasm. All of them are good.
All of them. All 5 of them.
They actually get better as they go. And it's because those properties were under the control of people that cared about them and loved them. They were fucking works of fucking love. Yeah.
And they all had Reggie in them.
Yeah. But I'm saying all out of all 3 of those series or those properties, they were in control of the people who fucking loved those properties. Understood the fans.
You need a horror nerd involved with that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, every now and then you can get maybe some Hollywood guy that like gets lucky and gets a franchise and makes something good out of it, but generally you need somebody that's like super into that shit.
Yeah. I found Phantasm later in life when I was with Jen. Never saw a single movie.
And I couldn't believe it. I was like, you've never seen Phantasm?
Never seen.
Oh my God. I have to show you this right now.
Phantasm 1 was a fucking great low budget horror movie that had a lot of innovation and original ideas.
What a great fucking idea! What a great
and
premise.
the same dude that did it isn't it the dude that plays Reggie? He's the one that writes that shit, isn't it?
No,
it's just
no,
they just get Reggie.
He's just in it.
Okay. The main character is Reggie. And
Don
all
Coscarelli
fucking
is the guy that
five
did
of the movies. And there's character development. He gets better. And all the Evil Deads are good. So it's kind of I compare.
Yeah, all the
Evil
Evil Deads are good.
And even the Evil Dead Netflix series was fucking good.
What, Ash versus Evil Dead?
Yeah. Ash
That was that. I don't think that was Netflix.
What
That
was
was who did that? FX or something. Actually, if you haven't seen Ash versus Evil Dead, the
you see
series,
that, yeah.
oh my god, please see it. It's
Yeah.
fucking awesome. It's
Yeah.
so good.
And but every one of the movies out of fucking Reanimator, Psycho, all of those movies are good. Which you would think, how the hell are you going to top Psycho 1? They did. They continued, and it was intelligently written. It got better and better as it went.
I couldn't believe it when I saw
Yeah.
Psycho 2. I'm like, because
Yeah.
I was expecting it to like suck out loud. You know what I mean?
Psycho 2 might have been better than Psycho 1.
I was like, wow, this is really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I got them all in a set on Blu-ray. And then all of the Reanimators, they're all good. Well, I said Reanimator, Psycho. What was the other one that I said?
Phantasm.
Phantasm. Yeah, Phantasm as a property developed and got fucking really good as it went.
Well, the mythology behind that is so rich. There's like so much you can do with
and
that.
it's original.
Yeah.
It's very original. And it's it does have humor in it. So, but if you don't like humor and horror, maybe you won't like it, but it does have a lot of humor in it. But there's a lot of character development, story development, and lore. And the movie quotes its own lore, which I liked it. The whole thing is good, man.
Yeah.
It's very much a fan service fucking property.
I was into it.
That's the way it should be.
Like I said, we have the Phantasm set that has all 5 movies, and they're all good.
Mm-hmm.
Old Restless says you'll love the morgue scene in Ash vs. Evil Dead. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
The first time I saw that scene, I just screamed with delight.
Yeah.
I think you missed it. You might have been in the bathroom or something. And I was just like, and I had to tell you about it later because I was like, oh my god, it's like, this is the most amazing fucking, I don't even want to spoil it if you haven't seen it. But it's like, oh my god, it's like one of the funniest things I've ever seen. The funniest and one of the best things.
One of the best things about fucking Ash versus Evil Dead is that it turns out Ash's dad is being played by fucking what's his name? Fucking dude who played $6 million.
$6 Million Man.
$6 million. What's his name? Lee. Was it Lee Majors?
Lee Majors. Yeah.
Lee Majors. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's great. In
he
it.
was fucking great in that.
And he looked great for an old dude. He still looked great, and he's like this old fucking tough macho motherfucker. You know. He gets killed in it eventually. Doesn't he become one of the fucking zombies dead alive? Yeah.
Lucy Lawless is in it too.
Yeah.
And she's great. But like, I mean, just like Jeffrey Combs, it's like, I feel like Bruce Campbell also needs to be like in every movie. Because he just makes every movie better. Because like, hey, here's this movie and Bruce Campbell is in it. Okay, I don't even give a shit what it's about. I'm going to watch it. I'll watch it. Same with Jeffrey Combs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a shit what the movie's about. If he's in it, I'm watching it.
Too bad we missed his play. He was on tour doing Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, I know. I heard that was great too. I knew some people that saw it. Yeah, Phantom said Bruce Campbell as Sam Axe in Burn Notice is an I know. I still haven't seen Burn Notice yet. I'll get around to it. I know he did. Didn't he do that Briscoe County Junior show? I saw a couple of those. It was like a western-y kind of thing. But like I said, I'll watch pretty much anything he's in. He's fucking awesome. Yeah. I've read a bunch of his books too. He's fucking hysterical.
Phantom's talking about Castle Freak. There's some about Castle Freak. It didn't stick with me.
Oh, I really like Castle Freak.
I liked it, but it didn't stick with me.
And Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton were in that too.
Yeah.
And it was based on, that was also Lovecraftian. It was kind of based on The Outsider.
I'd only seen it once. Maybe if I watched it a couple times, it would probably stick with me. But I don't really remember much.
I thought we had it. Don't we have it?
I don't know.
I mean, I know we reviewed it, but I thought we had it.
I think we rented it.
Oh, maybe we did. John Gora said Lee Majors is really good in Killer Fish with Karen Black. It was like a heist movie in the Amazon with Piranha.
What year?
I saw that on...
What year was that?
MST. Like the new MST.
What year are we talking about?
With Jonah Ray did that.
What years are we talking about?
That was 70s.
70s, okay.
Yeah, that was 70s. I can't remember what year exactly, but yeah, the MST episode was good though. But yeah, they did that on there. Sexy ass Karen Black, as you have to call her.
Sexy ass Karen Black with her eyes
Yeah.
kind of slightly cross-eyed. Only sometimes though.
Yeah.
Maybe she does that on purpose.
Can you do that on purpose?
I don't know. There was a time I remember she kind of had a lazy eye. I don't know if she got it fixed. Because I didn't notice it in any of the newer movies that she's in. Like in the Devil's Rejects type movies.
Yeah, because she was in like the Rob Zombie movie.
Yeah, the Rob Zombie. Yeah, but she used to kind of have a slightly lazy eye back in the 70s.
Yeah, she did. That was kind of like, I thought that was like one of her trademarks.
One of her trademarks, yeah.
Like in Trilogy of Terror, and she was in Burnt Offerings. And
Yeah. Gorgeous woman with a little flaw on her.
I was kind of into that though.
Yeah.
Like I said, it made her stand out. And if you haven't seen it, she did a great fucking TV movie called The Strange Possession of Mrs. Oliver, which I think was 77 or 78.
There were two of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Oh man, it was so good. I wrote like this big long fucking blog post about it. I think I might have done a video about it too, but I just kind of, and it was written by, I think it was written by Richard Matheson, now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, old Ressa says she's doing an ahego face.
Yeah.
Japanese woman. Yeah, she would kind of do that a little bit.
Yeah. But it seemed like natural. It didn't seem like she was doing it on purpose. It just seemed like she kind of had a lazy eye. But that's all right.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm always just kind of, I like interesting looking people. If you get looking too perfect, it gets like kind of creepy and like uncanny valley. And it's like, goes around and like it's unattractive, you know? I kind of like distinctive looking. You get too pretty and they all kind of look alike.
Full Metal Nosferatu saying something about
Texas Chainsaw Massacre is in my top 5 favorite horror, but all the sequels and direct sequels and remakes, even spin-offs, I love, but direct sequels need to ease up. Yeah, honestly,
I think I've only seen a couple of them.
I mean, the first one's great. It's one of the best horror movies ever. Yeah. The second one is good, although it went full on like horror comedy.
Yeah, it's good. Though.
Which is awesome.
Skinny Puppy was quote sampling it all the time for their movies. Yeah.
Like with Chop Top and all that.
Yeah.
And then
they say it's a dog-eat-dog world, but as I see it, there ain't enough goddamn dogs. That's in a fucking Skinny Puppy.
And then like the remake that they did in when did they do the remake? 2004, I think it was. That actually wasn't bad. I saw that in the theater because I was just kind of like, are you fucking kidding me? You're remaking Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But I went to see it anyway, and I was just kind of like, all right. Now, the remake of the first Friday the 13th, however, can suck my dick. I did not like that at all. But the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre was okay. It was better than I was expecting. So I will give it that. But I mean, generally, like I said, I don't love remakes. I'm always just kind of like, why don't you just make something original? But I'm not like just de facto against them.
Here's the weird thing about Friday the 13th. I remember seeing Friday the 13th Part 1 as a kid. It was on cable. And I thought it was okay, but it didn't stick with me. The one that stuck with me was 3, Season of the Witch. I fucking loved that man. I still love that movie to this day. And a lot of the fucking Friday the 13th fans hate that movie because there's no Michael Myers in it. It's a fake.
You're talking your Halloween, not Friday the 13th.
Yeah, okay, that's right.
You kept saying Friday the 13th.
Yeah, I'm fucked up.
Halloween.
Well, we're talking about Halloween. Halloween 1, it didn't really stick with me. I remembered seeing, what was her name that played in it?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis, yeah. And I remember enjoying it, but it was forgettable when I was a kid. It was Halloween 3 that I fucking liked.
Because that was a pretty out there premise.
And I saw Halloween 3 first. All right, I saw Halloween 1 after. And I didn't like it. I didn't know that 3 wasn't related to the other 2. It was just something that they were playing on cable back when we were kids.
Yeah. Well, like I said, they were initially planning on doing like an anthology movie series. Like they were going to do a different Halloween
one
theme.
Each time, yeah.
Like it wouldn't have anything to do with
That'd have been good, though, probably.
I think so, too.
Like a brand name.
But everyone was mad, you know.
But part 3 was awesome with the whole Silver Shamrock angle. And, dude had weaponized bits of Stonehenge. And it's black magic to fucking cause little children's heads to turn into snakes and roaches. And then those snakes would go out and kill the parents and shit. I just thought it was just a wild, outlandish tale.
Well,
only Carpenter could come up with some crazy shit like that.
They're killing some children, so that's always good.
And the Silver Shamrock company that was making these masks were all androids.
Because, of course, they were.
Because, of course, no real people would do this. So you need androids to
And
do it.
also, there were pieces of Stonehenge.
Yeah, pieces of Stonehenge were the key.
Yep.
And then the fucking
'Cause why
Irish,
not?
and it was owned by an old Irishman who was fucking getting fucking revenge on all the people for fucking up Samhain. Wasn't it Samhain?
Yeah.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Sawan, or however they
Samhain.
pronounce it.
Yeah, Samhain, I think. Fucking up Samhain. All right, that they hijacked his fucking holy day. So we're gonna fucking sacrifice your children. I just thought that was an awesome angle, man.
Seems a little petty, but okay.
They need to remake that.
I don't think they should. I think it was good the way it was. Like I said, and I've said this many times before, like if you're gonna remake a horror movie, pick one that was like a great idea, but they didn't really have the budget
Well, that's what I
or
was
anything
thinking.
to do it right.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I don't think they had the budget. You know,
But it still kind of came out good in spite of itself.
it was kind of came off as
Because it's such a weird, it's a weird fucking premise, but
Well,
it's like out.
it
And I
was-
could see how at the time people were just like, nah, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
I think it was Carpenter trying to throw out some Cronenberg, because Carpenter and Cronenberg were buddies, and Halloween 3 and the Silver Shamrock Company kind of was like something that fucking Cronenberg would come up, an enemy corporation that was doing nefarious shit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like something Cronenberg would come up with.
Yeah, because like I said, he was
Yeah.
always like parodying
Yeah.
corporate kind of culture.
Yeah, and the movies kind of looked like a Cronenberg movie.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
maybe
love
that
it.
was like his fucking take
Yeah.
on it.
Had Carpenter actually executed fucking that one movie correctly, the one where they had the evil substance that was fucking, what was the name of that? I didn't like it.
Prince of Darkness.
Prince of Darkness. Prince of Darkness wasn't
one
even
with the
rhyme or
green-
reason to Prince of Darkness.
I like it more now than I did when I first saw it, because I saw it in the theater when it came. When the fuck did that came out? 87, 88, something like that. And I remember seeing it in the theater and being like, what the fuck is this? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wasn't into it, and then I got more appreciation for it later, like as I watched it again and again, but I still don't love it.
It's obviously
It's a muddled
he's making shit
premise.
up as he's going along.
It's a muddled premise.
He's making shit up as he's going along.
There's good ideas in there, but I
Yeah.
feel like they could have been more clearly delineated.
Yeah. There wasn't a clear story or limits to whatever this evil force was doing. It was, just wasn't that. It wasn't that good.
Like I said, it's a good idea.
It
I
had
like,
some cool scenes in it.
now see, that's a movie I wouldn't like be
Yeah.
mad if somebody wanted to remake that.
Yeah.
Like with that same concept, but I don't know, just like better thought out. There's great shit in that,
Yeah. It just didn't work together.
but I think it didn't hang together
Yeah.
right. That's probably, well, I don't want to say it's my least favorite movie of his, because I know that there's some later ones of his, like The Ward, that I haven't seen yet,
Yeah.
that I've heard were not good, but
Who wrote the Cronenberg movie about the guy about Sutter Kane, the writer? And he was opening up a door.
that
to...
wasn't a Cronenberg.
No, I asked you.
Carpenter.
That was Carpenter, wasn't it?
Who, like In the Mouth of Madness?
In the Mouth of Madness. Was that
Oh.
Carpenter?
Was it?
It was about an author
I
named
thought-
Sutter
yeah.
Kane. And,
Like it was kind of Lovecraft.
And Lovecraft. Yeah, he was opening up a door to like the Lovecraftian
Yeah.
world.
That one was good.
I don't know if that was Carpenter though.
No, I'm too drunk to remember too.
Yeah, I don't think it was. But it
The
kind
one with
of.
Sam
I remember
Neill.
it kind of being like a Carpenter movie. Haven't seen it in a long time. It had good costumes.
Yeah, I think it was Carpenter actually.
Was it Carpenter? Yeah.
I like that one more the more times I see it.
Yeah, that one's better. That one's a lot better than Heart of Dark or what is
Prince
it?
of Darkness.
Prince of Darkness. Yeah.
Heart of Darkness.
Heart of
was a-
Darkness,
was a
that's how-
Joseph Conrad
Yeah.
novel.
It was better than Prince of
Now was
Darkness.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't love Prince of Darkness. Donald Pleasance is great. I love the concept of it, but it just didn't. It didn't gel. It didn't gel for me. I like it better now than I did when I first saw it. Cause shit, man, like even if I didn't like a movie the first time, if it's by a director I really like, or from a writer I really like, or something like that, like I'll give it another chance like years later.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, maybe I was just in a bad mood, or maybe I didn't get it the first time around, or something like that. Like I always like to give it another chance, and usually I will like it better the second time. Not always,
Yeah.
but usually I'll like it a little bit, or I'll understand more like where they were coming from.
Yeah.
How you doing, Sess? Sess is saying that Halloween has the best horror song. And Michael's mask is the best horror mask. Yeah, the mask, of course, everybody knows. It's fucking James T. Kirk's mask. It's fucking, it's a Star Trek mask with the hair cut off and spray painted white. Yeah, and then they kind of purchased that at random. They didn't think about it, which just goes to show you.
They cut the eye holes bigger.
They cut the eye holes bigger, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff Yart says that Halloween 3 stands so well on its own. Just using the title Season of the Witch had such a nice rig. Yeah. Season of the Witch. Maybe you shouldn't have called it Halloween 3. You called it Season of the Witch.
Yeah, I think that would have worked a lot better. Because then no one would have had any expectations and they wouldn't have cried about it.
Yeah, and then he goes on to say Prince of Darkness as a concept works. Very Lovecraftian with a lot of potential. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I love the concept. I just think it wasn't executed.
John Gora's fucking... he references Escape from L.A. He said it was very witty satire. When Escape from L.A. came out, I was disappointed. There were certain elements of it I liked. But I thought it was too goofy, too silly.
It is very silly.
It aged on me. It aged pretty well on me. I understand what he was going for now. I wouldn't have gone that way. But evidently Kurt Russell had a lot to do with making that movie. They were kind of doing a satire of Snake Plissken and Escape from New York. But you can do some mental gymnastics while you're watching that movie and not see the satire. You can almost choose not to see it and just watch it as a straight action movie. It has a little bit more action in it actually than Escape from New York had. But there's something about Escape from New York. It was kind of a crudely put together low budget movie that was very effective visually. And it took you to a place that didn't exist back in the early 80s, like a post-apocalyptic New York, that's now a prison. Very good concept. Good world building in it. It has some deleted scenes that you can now watch on YouTube about what Snake Plissken did to get sentenced to prison. He robbed a bank, but they make you sound like it was a big violent robbery. It was more like cybercrime. But that was a really good movie. I liked the original tone to it, which was a little bit more straight. It had a kind of a straight tone. I would have preferred Escape from L.A. to have that same tone, but I guess they thought it wouldn't work in the 90s. Maybe they thought the 90s wouldn't buy it, that it was too cheesy, so they kind of put a little bit of a fucking humorous spin on it.
Well. Yeah, and I think, and like I said, I've discussed this particularly in regards to horror. Like, I kind of feel like the 90s, it was just like a whole thing where everything had to be ironic.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't really take anything seriously. Because I kind of feel like in the 70s, I mean, the 80s had like a lot of fun horror movies too, but I kind of feel like in the 70s and 80s, they were kind of more making movies that were like kind of scary or were meant to be fucked up or something like that. Whereas in the 90s, we're like, well, we're just going to make this movie, but it's kind of funny. We know it's not like serious, so we're just going to make a big fucking joke about it. And I didn't really like that. Not all movies were like that. A lot of good movies came out in the 90s.
Yeah. But now that original kind of serious tone to Escape from New York was carried over by a Japanese game developer who came up with a series called Metal Gear Solid. If you play any of those Metal Gear Solid games, it's basically Snake Plissken is what they're talking about. And they kind of... that dude...
Yeah, somebody just said that you would like the Metal Gear Solid game.
I played some of them.
Yeah, he's played some of them.
Now, the dude, that Japanese game developer, he was evidently worried about getting sued. Carpenter fucking saw the games, though, and says, no, I like what you're doing. I'd never sell you. I'd never sue you over some shit like that. You know what I mean? So I thought that was really cool. That Carpenter said, yeah, you're talking about Snake Plissken. But it's good. Just roll with it. I thought that was cool. The only one, I have 2 Metal Gear Solid games, and they're evidently not good ones. It's the one. They're the more. It's 2 of the more recent ones. They were kind of like modules from like 2020 around that time. Metal Gear Solid. Forgot what it was called. He's got a damn. Your base is a bunch of floating platforms out in the ocean,
and you're recruiting, you're fucking drugging fucking international mercenaries and recruiting them and setting them back up in there. I forgot what the name of it was. But there was a bunch of... I never finished it, but I did play it for a long time. It was pretty good. Didn't have much of a story to it.
Couple people brought up Ghosts of Mars, saying Ghosts of Mars is a guilty pleasure. And Old Restless said, I like Ghosts of Mars quite a bit. I saw it, and I remember not liking it all that much.
I hated it
but I haven't seen it in a long time. So, I mean, I'll give it another chance like one of these days. But I remember not liking it when I originally
I remember. It's like, what the fuck? I had heard that fucking... That Carpenter didn't have much to do with that movie.
I heard that also.
He probably didn't even direct that. Yeah, let me go the rest of it.
Seth says, I'm a Rob Zombie horror fan, which I know is controversial, as most hated stuff. I like his early stuff. I liked House of a Thousand Corpses and whatever the other one was, like Devil's Rejects and all that. I like those. His Halloween remake, however, was terrible. I saw that in the theater, and I hated it. I hated it. But like most of his other movies, like his original movies are good. I didn't see the Munsters one that he made. What happened to that movie? It seemed like it just fell off the face of the earth. I mean, it seemed like a good idea, sort of, but I heard that it went like so wrong. Phantom said a remake of the Donald Pleasance film Deathline, aka Raw Meat, would be great to see because the whole story of that film is great. I'd like to see another version of it. Subterranean horror is rare. Yeah, we reviewed that probably like a few years back. They had it on Shudder, and yeah, I remember that being really good. But yeah, that could probably like I said, if you're gonna remake something, I know they won't because they want the name recognition. So like, we have to remake something that like everybody knows what it is. You know what I mean? They're not gonna like remake some obscure fucking shit like that. But I think that would be more interesting. Taking something that was a really good concept and was kind of maybe a good movie like back in the day, but they didn't have the budget or anything to like realize the vision. And it's like now they could do it with all the bells and whistles and like you could see how it came out. But yeah, like I'd be more interested to see that. We don't need another remake of the big classics. I mean, they're classics for a reason. They don't need to be remade. Somebody asked what we thought of the Friday the 13th remake. I didn't like it. I did not like the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. I didn't mind the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. I thought that was pretty good. Obviously, the original is like miles better, but I thought the remake of it, which I think was 2004. That was pretty good. But the Nightmare on Elm Street remake and the Friday the 13th remake I really did not like them. Hugo said, have you guys seen Leviathan? Alien Meets the Thing. Yeah, I actually saw that in the theater, and then I saw it like again. Like, actually, we should review that one of these days because that's actually a really good.
I know I've seen it. I just don't remember that was the one. It was underwater, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, when we saw that movie Underwater with Kristen Stewart, I was like, oh, it kind of reminded me slightly of Leviathan too.
Underwater's a lot better though, I think.
Well, I haven't seen Leviathan in a long time. Isn't that James Cameron? I kind of feel like maybe that was James Cameron.
And it was a big budget movie, I think, when it came out.
Like I said, I saw it in the theater when it came out. I remember seeing it in the theater. American Military 100, off topic, but here's a true crime suggestion. David Meyerhofer, first SKO, I took as South Korean, caught with help of offender profiling. SK, I guess that's what that means. Famed FBI behavioral analysis Robert Ressler worked the case. I'm going to have to write that down because I've heard that name, but I'm not real sure about what that case is, but I'll write it down. David Meyerhofer, okay.
Yeah, Janitor's right. I was talking about Metal Gear Solid. About Metal Gear Solid 5. But I don't remember what the name was. Snake's got a damn piece of fucking stone or something coming out of his head. It got melded into his fucking head during an explosion, which is kind of cheesy, but it was a decent game though. He's saying that they remastered 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I get around to it, I'll buy it. I just fucking bought Warhammer fucking 40,000. Bolt gun. It's like a new retro game. It's like you're playing something from the 90s, like Doom, or Quake. But it's new. You know, probably from like a couple years back. It's good. I like it. It's fun. Kind of like a classic first-person shooter.
Oh, SK serial killer. Duh. I don't know why my mind like defaulted to South Korea. I guess because we were talking about Korea like the other day. I was gonna say like the other night, I don't know, we were watching something, and then like I was scrolling through Shudder, because I think I've been watching some of that series, and they had The Changeling on there, and we had been talking about The Changeling like a week or two ago, and I'm like, man, I just wanted to chill and like rewatch that. And so I'm just like, it's like 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to put The Changeling on. I've seen it like a bunch of times. But I hadn't seen it for a couple of years. Probably since the last time we reviewed it, which was probably several years ago. And so we're like sitting there watching it. Tom's like, man, I forgot how fucking good this movie was. I'm like, right?
What movie were we talking
The
about?
Changeling.
Oh, yeah, good movie, yeah.
With George C. Scott.
Bitch is epic.
I mean, that's one of my favorite haunted house movies. And it's like, and I love haunted house movies. That's probably my favorite subgenre.
It's like a serious haunted house movie.
And it's like a murder
It's
mystery.
real serious, yeah.
I like the haunted house trope mixed with the murder mystery trope. Like, I like that a lot. And I like how subtle it is.
Yeah. If you amp it up one level, I would go... the movie that's right above it in terms of fucking... more like over the top than that, because Changeling's like a realistic ghost movie. Right above that was that one with the legacy.
Yeah.
With the Satanists, the British Satanists.
I love that one, too.
They were witches, not so much Satanists. I guess
Yeah, they're kind of witches.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Roger Daltrey was in that shit.
They're all meeting.
And
Was that a Roger Corman movie?
No, I said Roger Daltrey.
Oh, Roger Daltrey,
from The Who was in it.
Yeah.
And Catherine Ross from The Stepford Wives.
Okay, yeah. It's all these...
and Sam Elliott.
It's all these
When he
witches,
was
people that were part of a witch's coven, that they got involved in all this, selling their soul to Satan, I guess.
As you do.
For money and fame and power. They were all meeting up in this British castle, where their coven leader, he's dying, and he's going to pass on all of his powers. He's got psychic powers, witch powers, to his favorite follower.
His heir apparent.
He's a billionaire. And it has a really cool fucking British... I think it's an American movie, though, isn't it? But it has a really cool British vibe to it, because a lot of people are in it who are British.
And they shot it over there.
It was shot over there. In this fucking old British fucking manor. Well, it turns out... the people who are not going to get the gift, he kills them all.
Well, why keep them around?
They were not... Yeah. And...
They're just taking up space.
And I think he was absorbing their power after he was killing them.
I thought that was... that was the impression I got.
And that he would... Once he had it all amassed, he was going to give it to his heir apparent. And they would start their own coven. But he didn't like the other witches, from what I remember. That thought they were a waste of time. From just based on memory serves. But weird shit happens in that one. Kills them using witchcraft.
We own that one too, because we reviewed that one like that. I think that might have been one of the first movies we reviewed like a long time ago.
Yeah,
because we started doing this show in 2016, and then I don't remember, like, we started reviewing movies. I don't remember when we first started reviewing movies.
Yeah, it was a good movie. It's called The Legacy.
Yeah, but that was one of the first ones that we did.
Yeah, and that American girl shows up there. She's kind of like one of the main characters. I guess she's the center of the story. She comes there with her boyfriend. And she shows up, and once all this weird shit starts happening, her and her boyfriend's like, we're gonna get the fuck out of it. Wasn't was that Sam Elliott? Her boyfriend?
I just said that. Like,
yeah, it was Sam
Elliott.
Yeah, Sam Elliott.
Yeah, very young Sam Elliott, and she was, and like I said, she was Catherine Ross, who, like I said, I always knew from. She was in the original Stepford Wives.
Yeah.
From the 70s.
They try to fucking book, man. They fucking get a car and they try to drive out of that place. And no matter what order of fucking roads that they took to try to get away from that fucking British manor, they always ended up coming back to that damn manor. There were no roads out.
That kind of trope always like freaked me out.
Yeah.
Like, if you try to like, and you just keep like
using
circling
that damn
back
witchcraft.
To the shit, that always like creeps me out.
Yeah.
That's in a lot of
you couldn't escape.
Horror movies.
It was like the Hotel California.
Yeah. That song used to like creep me out too.
Yeah.
It's probably not as creepy as like I don't know, I was like picturing it in a particular kind of way. Cuz there was a short story that I read when I was a kid, and it was in this anthology. If you've read any of my blog posts or like seen any of my other horror content like that I make, I have like I loved those Alfred Hitchcock horror anthologies, like from the 60s and 70s. And probably my favorite one, and I have a copy of it, my grandpa gave it to me like when I was a kid, and it's I still have it. It's like the fucking spine fell off and it's like broken in half and stuff because I've read it so many times. But it's called Stories That Scared Even Me. I think it's out of print nowadays. But man, it has some great fucking stories in there, and I read it over and over again. And there's a story in there that's about a guy who's like, he's like a criminal, and he like escaped from the hangman. And he's trying to like escape across the Mexican desert. And he comes across this priest who is kind of offering to help him and stuff, and he's like, man, fuck that, you know what I mean? And then like this hot woman rides up on a horse and says, hey, I'm going to take you to this ranch and everything will be okay. We'll protect you and stuff. And he's just like, yeah, I'm going with the hot woman. And then it turns out, spoiler alert, that the hot woman on the horse is actually kind of like the devil. I mean, she's not the devil, but she's like an advocate of the devil, like the ranch that they're taking her to. So the song Hotel California always reminded me of that story. Like the vibe of it is very similar, even though I'm pretty sure that story might have come out before that song.
Yeah.
Because that story was like pretty old. I think it was like 40s or 50s. But American Military 100 asks a very interesting question. Jenny and Tom, which 13 o'clock episode are you most proud of? Ooh.
In Lorraine Warren.
That's the one we got the most. That was the one we got the most comments on.
That one and the original Night Stalker. When I called it,
yeah,
I told
that's
you who
probably, that's a good one.
I told you who the Night Stalker was, and about a year later he got caught, and he was exactly who I thought it was. And he was a cop, military experience.
I also quite liked our Satanic Panic shows. We did 2 of those.
Yeah.
And as far as more recent stuff, I know it's not... Oh, thank you very much, Jeffy Art. We got a super chat. Sorry to be way off topic. Just finished watching the documentary Chimp Crazy. Have you or would you be willing to do an episode of pet chimp attacks? That's actually on my episode list. I've like put it in... Or like chimps raised as humans. Because I always found that really fascinating.
Somebody requested another show from us too.
Yeah, I wrote it down.
Okay.
I already got that.
What was it? What was the show that they...
Somebody said Valpurgis Night.
Valpurgis.
Yeah. So we're just like, yeah, I want to... That's actually a good idea.
Yeah.
And I never thought of doing that. Maybe we should do that like around Halloween. You guys.
We can do it for Halloween, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so... Wait, what was I saying? More recently, the video I'm most proud of doing was my History of Horror Movies one. Because that took me...
A lot of people watch it.
That took me fucking months to do. But I'm really, really happy with how it came out. Because I've been wanting to do it, like, forever. Because, like I said, you guys know I'll talk about horror movies all fucking day long. I'll just, like, totally dork out about it.
And Lorraine Warren got the most hits. It probably has the most traffic and the most comments on it. A lot of them are religious people.
Well, you know, they're going to get buttered.
If we do any kind of topic that talks about religion or religion adjacent, we're going to get flamed in the comments.
Yeah. They're very sensitive.
They're sensitive, yeah. They're going to tell us we need to find Jesus and shit. 8 minutes into this and y'all need to find Jesus. I mean, fuck you, dude.
Where is it? Oh, there he is.
Yeah. I probably know more about Jesus stories than he does.
Well, I think that's generally true. Yeah. People that are... Well, I think they've even done studies. Like, people that are, like, agnostic and atheists, like, generally know a lot more about the Bible than Christians do.
Yeah.
But... And I'm sure that's not true across the board, but in general, that's true. Like, all the studies that they've done. Like, when they test people, you know what I mean? I was like, well, yeah, because if you read the Bible, that's usually what makes you an atheist. I don't know if a lot of Christians have read the entire Bible. I have. You have. But
not all at once. Book by book.
Yeah, I read it over
dry.
Yeah, over a while.
Dry.
It is pretty boring.
Shit, yeah.
But I have read it like over
a while. Taken out of context, it's just a cultural library of the Christians that involves Jewish material back in the Old Testament. And the Romans have rebooted Judaism, basically. They were Roman Jews. Rebooting Judaism to a more Roman acceptable religion, you know. Jews had been in Rome for a long time, and then Romans started to convert to it. But they also, Romans also converted to Mithra, cult of Mithra, which is Persian. People have said, well, the Romans, they liked foreign religions. It wasn't so much that, it's just that Rome was filled with foreigners, and they brought their religions with them. And over time, they became more Roman than their ancestors who were immigrants that moved in there. So they started to Romanize the religions that they had, because religion was big business. if it alienated the public and you couldn't get followers, you couldn't get donations, then it would fail. So it had to be popular. Christianity eventually got popular. It eventually became the official religion of the Roman state. Of course, Rome was supposed to be secular, kinda, even though they were worshiping Roman imperial cults, even from the very beginning of it. Eventually, Christianity became the Roman imperial cult. Basically, is what happened. But it doesn't mean much. It's not this, and that wasn't the same Christianity we have today. It's been rebooted many, many times throughout history. Some of the same basic concepts were there, but the way they were applied, the way the followers were, it's just not the same.
Xanadu says, out of all the movies I've sent you guys, The Others has the most views, over 8,000. Yeah, I mean, I've been wanting to do that movie for a long time because I love that fucking movie. But, it surprises me that out of all... I know that's a very, like, revered movie, like, in horror circles. But it surprised me that that's, like, kind of the top one.
That was the top one that we did? The Others?
Of the movies that he sent us.
Okay, yeah.
And Phantom says, supposedly in 2022, there were talks about remaking The Others during modern times. See, I don't think that would work. I think the whole creepy shit about that movie was the fact that it was set at the time that it was set, right? It was World War II, right? Was it World War II or World War I?
I don't remember the movie you're talking about.
No, I can't remember. The one with Nicole Kidman and she's in the creepy house with, like, the two kids. It's kind of slightly like Turn of the Screw, but it has, like, its own thing going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did not too long ago.
Right.
Film it on Nosferatu. Ooh, this is actually a good idea. I never thought of this. The career of El Santo, his movies and wrestling career would make a great show.
Yeah, it might. Yeah.
Oh, that would actually be really entertaining.
Yeah, put that down.
I never even thought of doing that.
El Santo.
Holy crap.
That was the original Mexican superhero. Mexicans didn't have superheroes, man. They had fucking luchadores.
There was a great one on fucking MST. They did, it's Samson, the Silver Mask Man.
Yeah.
Samson versus the Vampire Women.
Okay, yeah.
It's a terrible fucking movie, but it's, like, super entertaining.
They had a new Zorro series. We watched it.
Yeah.
Channel, was that on Netflix?
No, that wasn't Netflix. It was
Amazon?
It was either Amazon or Hulu. Now I can't remember.
You could watch it for free.
Yeah, Zorro. We just came across it, like, randomly, and Tom's like, I kind of like Zorro shit. Let's watch that.
That was a fucking...
It was really good.
Good series. And they're evidently going to do a season 2.
They made it for Mexican TV.
Yeah, it was made for Mexican TV.
I need to go to the bathroom.
They did dub it into English. But you don't... Fuck dubbing. You want to see it in Spanish.
Yeah, watch it in Spanish.
With English subtitles. And, it's happening in an old Los Angeles before the Republic of California became part of the United States. It's not really part of Mexico, though, either. It's independent. And Zorro starts off as a Native American guy. But he gets killed. And a dude from fucking Madrid, Spain, shows up there to investigate the murder of his father. He thinks fucking Zorro killed his father. Turns out Zorro didn't kill his father. His father was friends with Zorro. And he even had Zorro's Batcave underneath his fucking house in L.A. And this guy from Madrid becomes the next Zorro. He kind of like inherits the mantle of Zorro. And Zorro's whole fucking deal is like, he's a lot like Batman. Cross between like Batman and maybe, I don't know, the Daredevil. And he's fighting corruption. This is what I like about it. He's fighting corruption in the California government. But he's not saying the whole government's bad. There are some good guys in the government. He starts fucking backing them. Kind of like how Batman picks Commissioner Gordon to help him clean up Gotham. It's very similar to that. But they stick true to a lot of the fucking Zorro mythology, you know? Or the Zorro-isms. They even show a little quick thing where fucking Zorro does this shit. He jumps on his fucking black horse to ride off, and some fucking Spanish Californian maiden fucking hands him a rose, and he smells the fucking rose and then fucking runs off in the fucking right in the middle of the day and shit with everybody cheering and shit. It just fucking got some cool, which is, that sounds fucking cheesy and shit, but that's the way that character was. You know what I mean? And the way they shot it, it fucking worked. The acting is real good. The writing is really good. Each episode is fucking pretty tight. And it continues through the whole thing. A bunch of love triangles. But no, I really recommend the new Zorro. It might be about a year old by now. What year did that come out, Jenny?
Yeah, I think it was just last year.
Last year.
It's pretty recent. Sorry, I didn't put water in that.
They haven't announced when the second season's coming out, but I checked on YouTube the reactions, and a lot of guys saying in Spanish, so in Mexico, so that they really hope that a second season will come out, that it has a lot of potential. Because at the end of season 1, Zorro starts his next mission to stop all this fucking corruption back in California. And his next mission is going to be taking place in old, like 1840s or 1850s New York. And so he's in New York, and that's when it ends. But second season, he'll be doing the shit in the United States, in New York. And I don't know if Zorro even speaks English. You know what I mean? He hadn't spoken any English in the first season. But I guess he does speak English. We're going to find out.
Yeah, we'll find out.
We'll find out. I put it on par with Batman or Daredevil series. About like that. But it has its own, in terms of quality. But he's his own character, though. I thought it was pretty good.
American Military 100 said the episode with the angry gay pope was super entertaining. I think Herb Baumeister was great too. Yeah, that was a good show. Man, we've done like so much fucking... I tend to like the true crime ones. But yeah, man, we've done so many true crime ones. We haven't even done any true crime ones for a while. Cause yeah, we did one on Mother Teresa and Magdalene Laundries and like fucked up religious stuff, but we haven't really done like a true crime case in a while. I don't know. Hopefully we'll get back to that. John Gore said Paul Naschy would be a good bio topic. Oh, I agree. Honestly, I should probably do some Paul Naschy movies like over on my... I wrote it down because I'm just like, shit, I don't even think I've done any. Like even over on my other channel. Yeah, Jeffy Hart said, Wikipedia said, I think the others goes from World War II, not World War I. Yeah, see, I thought it was World War II, but then I was like, wait, was it World War I? Now I can't even remember. But I thought it was World War II, but I wasn't entirely sure. CB said, Jenny, you should do a show on Harold Shipman. Oh, that's right, that doctor. Yeah, the British GP that murdered 284 of his patients over 30 years. I had thought that we talked about him on our... Because we did a show about, like, Angels of Mercy type killers. Like, doctors and nurses that killed. And I thought we talked about him on that, but maybe we didn't. Like, I'll go back and look. It's like, I don't think we did a show about him, like, by himself. But I thought we did a show with a bunch of them on there, but maybe he wasn't on there. But if we didn't, like, we should do a whole show about him probably. And Full Metal Nosferatu said I invited friends on Facebook to like 13 o'clock. 4 friends already accepted. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Just getting it out there. I mean, we've been going for... This show's been going for like fucking 8 years at this point.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. 8
years. Yeah, Phantom says Paul Naschy's The Wolfman versus the Yeti is a great film. Yeah, I need to get around to doing that one of these days. It's like I said, I don't think I've done any of his movies that I remember, and I probably need to rectify that. Yeah, Xander said you still need to do one on the Japanese cult that did the sarin nerve gas attack.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Shit, I remember that too. What the fuck were they called? I'll know what I'm talking about.
Zorro versus the Butcher.
Yeah.
Versus Bill the Butcher. I don't know that one. But the new Zorro series, I endorse it. It's great. And Zorro's name, and that was Diego, right? Remember his last name? Diego...
No, I can't remember.
Yeah.
I wanted to say Velasquez. I'm like, no, that's that Spanish painter.
Diego was his name. But it was it was a tight series. Real good. It didn't... I would say the tone was kind of like on par with it, like a comic book tone. It wasn't all about realism. It did have some fantasy to it, but I just thought it was great. That was good.
It was kind of like a magical realism, but not not totally, like super out there. Yeah. It wasn't super out there, but it did have like some slightly.
It's a comic book. It's a comic book movie. series. You could tell. There's a lot of Giallo lighting, of fucking, red and blue and green lighting in the back with a bunch of fucking smoke when he's doing shit. My only gripe about the new Zorro, the Mexican Zorro series, is that when you first meet Diego, he's in training for something. I guess he's a fucking secret agent.
Like a spy or something.
But they never really get into his backstory. But when he becomes Zorro and accepts the mantle of Zorro, he's already a sword master. And he's fucking like an accomplished investigator. And they don't really explain where these skills came from. But he's like on par with Batman. And he's a fucking great swordsman. And this is a time in the 1800s. Was it 1830s? 1840s?
I think that's when it was set, yeah.
There aren't any revolvers. All the pistols are single shot.
Because it was like before California became a state. It was just,
They were single shot, and they were no metallic cartridge. So the sword was still like the main weapon. And he doesn't carry any guns, just a fucking sword. He also ended up developing basically an armored suit. With a bunch of protection against swords and stuff. Not fully armored. It looks like just an elegant gothic, almost kind of Victorian outfit with a fucking cape and shit. But it's armored. I think it's at least a leather armor because he stops a bunch of, or steel in there. Because with his forearms, he stops blades with it. But no, man, it's worth watching. And I think it was on Amazon. We saw that whole series. Just for free.
I think it might have been, yeah. And like I said, we just found it completely at random. We were just like scrolling through and we couldn't decide what to watch. And Tom's like,
was like Zorro? Yeah, this was Zorro.
Okay, that might be good.
Yeah,
just watched it.
It was good.
That's how we find a lot of stuff, honestly. Philman on Nosferatu is recommending some YouTube channels. It says, Tom, check out Screws and Tools, Antique Weapons, and Tool Restoration.
Okay.
That sounds funny. Jenny, check out Baumgartner Fine Art Restoration. Ooh, I'd probably be into that. And it says, for Jenny and Tom, check out The Professor of Rock. Okay.
Yeah. And above that, DVD Dragon was asking me a big question about Dave Bautista.
Oh, about Dave Bautista, yeah.
Yeah.
Dropped 75 pounds, says he just went vegan.
Yeah.
Rumors he stopped using as much gear for health reasons still. I haven't seen him since he's done that, so.
Okay. Bautista was pretty big. He was like fucking 320 pounds, I think.
Yeah, he's a massive dude.
And that's not fucking healthy. The human heart was not designed to drive a body that weighed over 300 pounds and with a low levels of body fat. The more muscle you have, the stress on your heart. Like, let's say, for instance, a guy who's lean at fucking 10% body fat at 300 pounds, his heart is under a lot more stress than a fat guy at 300 pounds. Because there's less blood vessels involved with a big fat guy. To power a 300-pound body, man, you need a big heart. Now, the heart does get bigger in a human if you're on steroids. It'll get bigger to try to power that body, but the problem is that the valves in your heart are made out of cartilage, and they can't grow. So you got this big, powerful heart with valves that aren't strong enough. Them valves are wearing out like a motherfucker. It can cause heart problems over time.
Oh, and they're pointing out that he's 6'7". Also.
Yeah, he's 6'7". I didn't realize he was that fucking tall.
Yeah, that's enormous.
Well, the thing is 310 pounds is kind of what you need to fill out a 6'7" frame. Genetically, those dudes without fucking assistance and workout would be bean poles. It's hard. You got to eat a lot, do a lot of sleeping and work out, and a lot of weight, take a lot of gear. So Bautista, a guy who's big, he's been in a bunch of movies. I think he's fucking great. I fucking love Bautista. I think he's a nice guy. He's now trimmed down and gotten very kind of slim. And some people are saying, man, he looks gay now. Yeah, with all that Gucci shit. No, I think he looks like he doesn't look gay. He just looks like a fucking normal proportion kind of, or a pretty good proportion tall guy now, is what he looks like. Now he's saying he did it, from the interview I saw, he's saying he did it because he wanted to be offered different roles, because at the weight that he was at before, he could only be the henchman or the bad guy or the sidekick to some other big motherfucker.
Fair enough.
So he wanted to get different kind of roles, which, okay, yeah, you can make money that way because you're already known. But Dave Bautista got fucking known for being fucking huge. to get that big on a frame that size, you got to start doing androgens and anabolic steroids at a pretty young age to take the time to build all that muscle up. Which means that you're on steroids for a long fucking time. You start getting into your 50s, man, you may have burned up a lot of the gas in your tank. And all those big dudes decide usually to start downsizing. It's not only for just health reasons. You're getting older, man, and you're fucking big. How many beats are you going to get out of that heart? Yeah, I think it's wise that he kind of came down. All right. Now, a dude like me is in a totally different situation. First of all, I'm only 5'6". I only weigh 190-something pounds right now. Okay. I only started this stuff about 4 or 5 years ago. So I'm doing it in the second half of life. Turns out, in terms of lifespan shit, that's really what you want to do. You don't really want to, if you want to live a long time, you don't want to bang a bunch of fucking testosterone and anabolic steroids when you're young. Unless you're a professional athlete. I'm going to say that. Professional athlete's a little bit different. Because if you start that shit fucking young, it's fun to get big. You don't want to get small, though. So the next thing you know, you're on that shit for 40 fucking years. If you're on something for 40 years, it doesn't matter what it is, there could be repercussions. All right? Especially when you're talking about that kind of body weight. It's just too much fucking weight, man, and it's all muscle. So I'm doing it later in life. My dosages are very sane compared to those guys. Maybe like 1/4 of what they do. And my lifespan's only another 25 years anyway. Dudes that have done what I'm doing actually probably lived longer than they would have had they not done it. Because there's other benefits. As long as you're fucking sane about shit. But one of the main benefits is it keeps fat off you. If you lose 40% of your muscle mass, you will die. That's another thing too. The more muscle mass a man has on him, within reason, depending on his build, the chances are that you will live longer. Well, at least that's a statistical thing. When dudes start losing a lot of muscle mass, they're getting weaker. And their bodies are now open to attack to other things. So hormone replacement and anabolic therapies and lifting weights and activity and the proper diet and a lot of sleep, good sleep, can expand your lifespan and improve the quality of your life. Dudes like me don't really have convalescence. You're strong until the day you die. You're strong, you look good, one day you die. There's none of this, I'm too old to do this. There's no convalescence. There are dudes that did this before me. Jack LaLanne was one of them. And I'm not sure what Jack LaLanne lived to 97. He kept shit pretty sane. But looking at Jack LaLanne in his final years, I think he could have done better today with the knowledge that you have now and the shit you can get your hands on now. Xanadu was talking to Xanada's going on tests soon. He's about that right age. When you start approaching 40, 35, late 30s, mid 30s, depending on what your emotional status is and how your life's been, it's about the time you need to start supplementing testosterone.
Phantom says 5'6" with a third leg.
Mm-hmm.
And then puts
5'6", 3 legs.
Hashtag long live 13 cams.
Yeah. 5'6",
we need
3
to get
legs.
back into doing that one of these days.
I'm about 12% body fat right now. 12 to 15% body fat. And I weigh usually around, depending on how much water I've been drinking, how hydrated I am, I'm about 190 pounds. Sometimes 188, sometimes 192, 93. Right now, I'm probably, because I'm losing some fat from clenbuterol. If I take some water pills and piss out all my fluids, I would look pretty fucking cut, but I'd probably fucking come in at about 187. Probably 12% body fat. I'm just trimming up my waist right now. That's what I'm doing. And I don't really care about, I'm not fucking training to go to Olympia. I'm not a fucking power lifter where I'm training to beat records. I'm just going slow and steady. It's more about life extension and looking good till the day you die and feeling good. So I don't have to get as crazy as dudes like Bautista. Because see, if he's 6'7", to get as big as he did, he requires a lot of anabolics. Because there's a lot of body mass there. He must have been taking 4,000 milligrams of gear every fucking week. I would think, when he's trying to grow. Because you're trying to force a growth spurt. I know he said that his weight would go up and down. He'd go from like fucking 280 to fucking 320, you know, in a few months. I've seen pictures of him where he looks pretty swollen, like he's been on Dianabol, he's holding a lot of water, you know. But, yeah, it's funny. You look at him now and there's a big difference. But still, if you compared Bautista to the average dude at his age, who's fucking 6'7", Bautista is going to look a lot better. A lot better. The average dude at 6'7" at his age is a beanpole or skinny fat by now. Or fat.
Side quest here is going to bed. Time for bed. Love the
See you
show.
around, Side
Have
Quest.
a great night.
Yep.
Good night, Side quest. Full Metal Nosferatu says, Tom, are you familiar with Diamond Dallas Page and his DDPY yoga plan? Xander said he's familiar with that. Said, I think yoga is beneficial and increases blood flow for sure. Tom isn't a yoga guy.
No.
I've been wanting to get into that, but I still haven't done it yet. You know, one of these days I will. I think I talked about it on a show a couple weeks back.
Xander's going, yeah, but 56 is a good life as long as you've had fun. Yeah, I've had fun, but the thing is that I want to be about like this.
Yeah, bitch, I just turned 52. I don't want to die in 4 years. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm still having a good time.
I want to be about like this well into my 60s, you know. And that's possible. I've seen photographs of guys that are doing what I'm doing in their late 60s, and they don't look that different from me, you know. The main difference is the face a little bit can change, but you can change that too. There's surgeries out there, you know.
I don't know. I don't really think about it too much, like being the age that I am.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess because we're not like just laying around the house going like,
Look at.
I mean, we're still going out doing shit. So.
Yeah. Look at Cassandra Peterson. She's about 73, I think. She looks fucking great. She's had a little bit of work done on her face, but there's also, I guarantee you, there's fucking androgens involved with her too. I don't know if she's taking Clan or some kind of hormone replacement. They're always on something. They're doing fucking anabolic steroid fucking rebuilds, you know, fucking around with Primobolan and stuff. But there aren't a lot of guys right now that are in their 70s doing what I'm doing, because a lot of guys that are in their 70s don't give a shit. They just don't. But I'm too kind of vain to go that way. I think that I could be in my 70s and not be that different than I am now. Because I've just changed a lot the past 3 or 4 years. You can go back and look in the videos. And I'm not doing that much stuff. I can handle what I'm doing for the rest of my life. Probably what'll take me down is something, an outside force, like fucking, you get struck down by cancer. That's a common.
I mean, I read somewhere that like if people
eventually
live
you
long
die
enough, like everyone will get
You eventually die of cancer.
if you live long enough.
Yeah.
Like that's a cheerful thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't. Like I said, I don't worry about it. I don't know. I've never been.
You got to
too,
be positive until the shit happens.
Well, I've never been like too hung up about age. Even when I was a teenager, I know it's gonna sound crazy, but I was just kind of like, even when I was a teenager, I was just kind of like, man, I'm just never gonna be one of those people that is like, I'm too old to do this and I'm too old to do that. Because I saw like, you know, people. My parents weren't like that, but like my parents' generation, my grandparents, like they'd be like, oh, you can't do that anymore. You're too old for that. Blah blah blah. Yeah. I'm like, fuck that shit.
If I could only take you guys to the club with me, because there are some times where there are guys there that are younger than me by 3 or 4 years, and you put them next to me and it's night and day. I can't believe that dude's younger than me. You know.
Well, like I said,
a lifetime of fucking abuse, neglect, fucking.
But we've said before too that I think because we grew up in alternative subcultures, like goth scene, punk scene, that kind of stuff. There's, you know, some of the people, I'm not gonna lie, like abused their bodies pretty bad because there was, particularly in the 80s and 90s, there was a lot of drugs and shit like that going around.
Drugs and alcohol.
And that, yeah, so some of the people like kind of got ravaged and a lot of people died. But the ones that stuck with it still go out. And most of them still look pretty good.
Yeah.
Like some of them, you can tell they're older, but some people, they still go out like every single week, just like we do.
Yeah, and most of them are natural. They're not on anything, as far as I know. They still look okay.
Yeah, and some of them actually look really good.
Now I'm talking about, I talked about Maggie earlier. I showed pictures of her. She's older than I am. I kind of think Maggie's on something, though. Either that or she's just got a badass fucking pituitary glands. Because she's just very thin, and she looks very young for maybe 60. She's probably about 60.
She's probably 60.
About 60, yeah.
But like
she's
I
always
said,
with younger guys.
you would never know that in
You'd
a
never
million
know.
years that she was 60 years old.
She might be doing stuff, though. Probably is.
But see, it just goes to show, like, when we were growing up in the 80s and stuff, and all our parents told us, like, oh, you'll grow out of all that goth shit or something like that.
Nah.
Most people don't.
Not really.
Most people don't. It's still in their 50s, like, going out dancing to shit, so they're still going. Still going to shows and everything. Which, that's cool. I like that. I like that that happened. You know? Full Metal Nosferatu says, I'm 50, and I'm getting a Halloween tattoo finished this Sunday. See? Awesome. I'm still hoping one of these days when I can afford it to get like a big back piece. I even had an idea for it. I was going to do like a whole thing based on Mask of the Red Death. I had it drawn out and everything. But, you know, that's going to cost like $1 million. I just haven't got around to doing it yet. American Military said Linda Carter looks stunning too.
Haven't seen her lately.
I haven't seen her either. I wonder what she still looks like. Now I'm kind of curious. But yeah, there's really no reason. I mean, obviously genetics plays a role, but it's like there's really no reason if you keep your shit together that you can't look at least decent.
If you're genetic,
like when you get older. Like I said, genetics does play a part, not gonna lie.
Lifestyle. Are you eating right, getting enough sleep, working out? And then the next thing you do would be cosmetic surgeries and then treatments. You know, hormone therapy. Which also includes fucking steroidal therapies and working out. That also works. All those fucking... Okay, look, Batista's about my age, man, if I remember correctly. He's probably in mid-50s. Motherfucker was giant, you know. I mean, fucking The Rock's giant. He's in his early 50s. Arnold didn't look like that in his early 50s. You know. The dude that's aging... The dude that's getting old and staying huge would be The Rock. And The Rock looks great. Now... Could the average dude out of nowhere at fucking 40 go, I want to look like The Rock in 10 years? No. You'd have to start it a long time ago. There's not enough time. Could the average dude tolerate that much training and that much anabolic assistance over time? Probably not. A lot of guys that run into problems. They just can't handle those drugs very well. Their genes aren't built for it. When you see old dudes like that look huge, you're looking at the successes. The guys that had everything together. They had good mentality, lifestyle, good training. They knew about what they were doing, and their bodies reacted well to the substances that they were doing. There are other guys that have all that, but their bodies don't react that well. They can't get that big.
Some people will never be able to.
Yeah, they will never
like I said, everyone has genetic limitations.
Yeah.
But everyone can look good within their limitations.
Right.
Everybody.
The guy that didn't have the genes would still look good.
Yeah.
He could still take those steroids and shit. It's just that he would be as big as The Rock.
I mean, very few people could look as big, and that's okay. Right. Like he's like an outlier.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I was never trying to look like that ever. For me, it was I felt bad. I went on HRT. I started working out to lose body fat, get a better physique. My goal actually was just to look like a street bruiser. More like fucking Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel's not a bodybuilder. He's just a street bruiser. That's fucking good enough for me. You know, I'm trying to get some abs to look good. You know, which you're gonna try to perfect yourself. That's how it is. But I'm not going on Olympia on the stage I'm going up on a stage and competing in Olympia.
Putting on a Speedo.
Putting on Speedos. And I'm fucking way too old to do that. You know, if you want to fucking compete at Olympia, you got to start in your 20s. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that has to kind of be your whole life.
Yeah, that's your whole life.
Now, Xanada says some guys prefer older women. When I was 18, I was dating a girl who was 27.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I kind of feel like the overriding idea is that younger guys like young women, and even older guys like young women.
Yeah.
Considering how many older guys creep on like preteen girls.
Yeah.
But it does seem like there is a contingent of younger guys that appreciate older women. Like older, you know, I'm not talking about like 70-year-olds, but I'm talking about like, you know, 10, 20 years older than that.
Xanada brings up Hulk Hogan. He thought Hulk Hogan looks better than The Rock. I'm going to disagree. In terms of, if you're just going to look at him from the bodybuilder point of view, The Rock is fucking very lean, and his physique is phenomenal. Okay? He's got especially for his age. Hogan, when I saw him recently, Hogan looked great. But you got to understand, Hulk Hogan is an old man. That's an old man. He looked very good. Very good. Which that goes to show you, if you do shit the right way, and that your genes can tolerate it, you can live a long time doing what I'm doing. And that motherfucker was taking more than me. And Hulk Hogan was a big dude. Which, in terms of building a physique, he has a disadvantage. Because we all fucking grow muscle at about the same rate. Even under anabolics, maybe 3-4 pounds a year. A lot of it's water if you're not doing that. Especially after you made your newbie gains. So to put the amount of weight that was on fucking, say, Batista or fucking Hulk Hogan, it takes a long time to build that muscle up. A shorter guy can look about like that in a lot smaller amount of time, a shorter amount of time. Because we're all going to make about 3 pounds a year, 4 pounds a year, kind of. But 4 pounds on me, I'd look fucking massive. You added 4 pounds of muscle on me, I'd look fucking huge. But it's only 4 pounds though, you know. So because it doesn't have anywhere to go. You got a big frame, it takes longer, and it also takes more shit and more work. And then the next thing you know, that motherfucker's 320 pounds. That's a lot of stress on a heart.
Yeah.
A dude like me, I can get ripped, fucking jacked as fuck. I'd only weigh 200 pounds though.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's kind of a lot safer.
It's safer.
And honestly, it's not only is it safer, but it's just like you make quote unquote small gains, but it looks like a lot more.
Yeah.
Because you're not 6'5",
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So it's just like it's a lot harder for somebody that's like huge.
The ultimate short man of all times, you can Google him right now, was Franco Colombo. All right, and that was Arnold Schwarzenegger's best friend. He was from Sardinia. They fucking were coming up together, and Franco was in the lightweight category. He was 200 pounds. If you went over 200 pounds, you had to go into the heavyweight category. So he had to keep his weight 200 pounds or under. Look at a picture of him. He looks fucking huge. And he was strong. He was stronger than Arnold. Because he had all that muscle on a little short frame that has a lot of fucking leverage. And you don't have to move the weight very far when you're doing
Yeah.
But Franco...
There are some advantages to being like kind of a littler person.
Franco could reach down and grab a fucking refrigerator and pick it up and run refrigerators. And he could move refrigerators around like nothing during those strongman competitions. And could do stuff that a taller guy couldn't do. That's why a chimp can be so strong. They got the little short legs and they have that power, and they can freaking, it's more leverage. They can run and drag shit, you know, because they don't have big long legs.
Like I said, there's advantages.
They're lower to the ground.
It sucks being short sometimes because I'm short, even shorter than you are. I'm like 5'3", but 5'2", 5'3".
Yeah, but in bodybuilding, fucking short guys have an advantage. Just like in titties, short girls have an advantage. You go little short girls, she's got fucking. You know, a lot of short girls, if they're voluptuous, they have a fucking reputation for having big boobs. You know what I mean? Well, you put that same boob on a fucking 6 foot tall woman, she doesn't.
It's not gonna look as.
It's not gonna look that good, right? It's like that.
But when it's on like a little short girl that maybe also has a big butt,
big butt.
Like it looks like super like hourglassy and like kind of awesome.
Yeah. Same thing with dudes and muscle.
I always hated being short though. I didn't hate being short. It's just kind of a pain in the ass.
Look how fast your legs and booty shapes changed though.
Well, yeah.
And it was only a couple of pounds.
I know.
She built her shit up too. She's looking real good. We're gonna make a video soon.
Yeah, we need to.
Yeah.
We haven't even done any with the doll, and we spent all that money.
Yeah,
on it.
it's all right. It's just a decoration. We had fun with it. We had fun with it a couple times.
That's true.
Yeah.
I know. I was kind of thinking about it the other day. It's like, yeah, we need to
Use that doll.
We need to have fun with that doll. She's just sitting over there watching TV. She's like,
watching TV, waiting. Yeah. But yeah. But and I've said this many times on the show before over the years. Knowing what I know now, I would have gone on I would have gone on hormone replacement therapy at around 35. And I'd have gone back into training like I was in the military, but just done fucking gym, weights. Quality of my life would have been a lot better. My health probably would have been a lot better. By the time I was in my 40s, I'd have looked phenomenal. Yeah. So that's the way actually to go. Well, I kind of went on too late. I went on late 40s, early 50s actually.
But I mean, so that's the advice that you would give to people as soon as they start feeling. Because here's the thing: like when I met you, you were a little bit like that. But like the more I got to know you, and like the longer we were in a relationship, you started getting like that. Where you were just like old man, just like, oh, I'm gonna die soon. I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're like in your 40s and like early 50s.
You started to get kind of negative and low energy.
And I'm like, and I'm only a couple years younger than you are, so I'm just like, bitch, what are you talking about? Were you gonna go out and do this, that, and the other thing? I was like, want to do all this stuff, and he was just like, oh, man. He was all like cranky, and I'm just like, man. Grandpa.
natural test production starts trailing off after 30. If you're 30 years old and you're normal, you can go into the gym. You can make very modest gains in the first few years. By the time fucking 35 rolls around, though, man, fucking working out in the gym, your body doesn't change very much. If you were overweight at 30 and you started to do that, your body's not going to change much. You just don't produce the testosterone you need to do a transformation. You got to fucking bump that shit up. So you at least have the fucking testosterone blood levels of a teenager. If you're older, it's going to take even more. I'm probably like twice. A lot of times I'm like twice what a teenager has.
Well, and it's not even just the working out aspect. It's just like a mood. Like it makes you feel a lot better, like a lot more positive about your life. You're not feeling like, oh, I'm gonna die soon.
No, your confidence all starts coming back.
It was a massive difference. Yeah, it was like night and day.
You start getting like a can-do attitude. Oh, this is no problem. I can do this. No fucking problem. Oh, I'm gonna win. You're like that.
Yeah,
and it's because that's what testosterone does to you. Yeah, that's the effects on the brain. Positivity.
Yeah.
Now, in women, it might evoke aggression. Because they didn't go through male puberty, so they weren't androgenized to it.
Yeah, it kind of affects us differently.
Yeah. Obviously. Women seem to respond more to progesterone. But when they start pumping up progesterone, they start to become more girlish and confused and self-depreciating and kind of, oh, this is terrible. Oh, everything's, it sucks. Look, I'm so fat. They start to get kind of negative,
I mean, we're all kind of like that anyway.
Progesterone makes me fucking feel crazy. Like pregnant Superman.
Well, I told you. Yeah. I told you. That's why I'm kind of glad. When you were on Tren, it wasn't fun.
Yeah.
But I like that you went through that experience because then I could tell you, it's like, remember how you felt on Tren?
Yeah.
That's how I feel all the time. I don't like it.
Yeah.
But... And I've taught, and other female friends of mine I know are like, oh, we feel all the time. I'm like, exactly. So I'm glad you kind of experienced that. It sucks, right? It sucks.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't like it either, but.
Yeah, Xana says Hogan's 71. Please don't badmouth Hulk Hogan. No, Hulk Hogan looked fucking
Yeah, because
great.
Victor says, just watch the Vince McMahon doc on Netflix. Man, everybody's watching that. I might watch it. I don't really give a shit about wrestling, but I would probably watch it just for interest, And it says The Rock looks old in the face now, but Hulk Hogan has looked old since 1987.
Yeah, he always looked. He looked just like that.
But see, that's kind of, in a way, that's kind of a superpower. Because if you look old when you're fairly young and you just stay like that, so then you just stay like that for a long time. So people are like, oh, okay.
Those old wrestlers were from another time. They were very kind of there was a lot of positivity in their attitude. They were entertainers for children, really. Okay, a lot of the fucking in the 80s, late 80s, only kids really watched, fucking wrestling. And as they aged, a lot of the fans aged. Because, I remember back in the fucking 90s, mid-90s, you started having people in their 20s and shit that were watching fucking wrestling. And half of them were still thinking that it might be real. No, it was entertainment. But like, no, the Hulk, when I've seen him recently, he looks fucking great. For 71, no. Yeah, he looks great. Yeah. Fucking, a lot of dudes are lucky to be alive at 71. And he hasn't changed that much. He pretty much looked kind of like he did.
And honestly, like, we live in, like, fucking backwoods Florida.
Yeah.
You go to the grocery store or something like that, you see lots of 71-year-old dudes, and they all look exactly the same. They all have gray hair, big old bellies, wearing the baggy shorts and the Crocs, shuffling.
They walk like ducks with their feet pointed, with the toes pointed out, and they kind of waddle.
And they're all just waddling around.
Waddle with their fucking toes pointed out.
In their XXL polo shirts.
Yeah.
And their big baggy cargo shorts and their Crocs. And they're shuffling through the Publix.
And if you fucking if you were to put
and they all look like that.
If you were to put the Hulk next to those dudes, he would appear as another species. They would look like two separate species of beings. An alien would go, "Are these the same species?" You want another drink?
Sure. Why not? I mean, it's Friday night. It's only 10:30. I don't gotta go anyplace tomorrow.
We should get some Thai food tomorrow.
Yeah, because it was closed when we went on my birthday. We got good Indian food though. I wanted to we went to the Indian restaurant. We've been there before one time, and it was pretty good. I think I had lamb korma the first time we went. I was like, "This pretty." It's not as good as the lamb korma from Memories of India, which is like the best Indian restaurant around here, but that's kind of a drive from here. Like, this Indian restaurant is only, 8 miles away. The other one's, 30 miles away. But sometimes it's worth it. We'll go on special occasions. But the Thai restaurant in downtown Mount Dora, I think it's called JK... What is it called? JK Thai Garden? They have sushi, too. But, man, their Thai food is so good. It's so good. Oh, my God. Their massaman curry is just... The first bite I took of it, I was just like... it was so good. And Tom makes really, really good. I don't think it's better than your Thai food.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. They got good shit.
It's up there.
They got good shit.
Because he makes really good Thai food too. But when we were at Shiva, because that's where we ended, because like I said, we were going to the Thai place for my birthday yesterday, and it was closed because of the hurricane. And but the Indian place was open, so it was like, okay, well, we'll go there because it's just a couple blocks away. And so we went there. There's 2 other ladies in there, and it was completely empty otherwise. And I got lamb korma there before, and that was pretty good. Not as good as Memories of India. But I said, this time I'm going to try their butter chicken. Because that's one of Tom's specialties, is his butter chicken. And his butter chicken is, fucking phenomenal. Every time, some of our friends come over, they'll be like, make the butter chicken, Tom. Either that or pizza. They'll ask for one of those 2 things, because that's, his 2 specialties. And... the butter chicken at this place, pretty good. Like I said, not as good as Tom's, but pretty fucking good. I think next time I'll try the sag paneer and see how that is. But
now, Xanadu, to answer your question, is the Rock on gear? Absolutely. From what I saw, absolutely.
Ooh, you made that strong.
Yeah, that's the last of it.
Oh, okay.
And after this, it's going to be sodas.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. He's on a healthy dose of testosterone, at minimum. And he's probably polishing, putting a little bit of Deca on there to help him with inflammatory problems and make your joints feel good. And maybe something like Primabol. And then he's fucking taking Clomid, probably, or HCG, pituitary gland stimulants. They don't cost that much, man. If you got good sources, you can do that for $60 a month. If you buy it in bulk, $50 a month. It doesn't cost that much. If you know how to shop. But no, you can't look like that at 71, 72 without assistance. But that's all him. That's all him. Everybody would be like that if your system still produced the shit. But you just don't make it anymore. If your teeth fall out, you put in false teeth. That's the same thing.
We were talking about dudes that just looked old when they were young and they just looked like that forever.
Yeah.
John Gora said Ernest Borgnine was old his whole career.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just looked like an old man. Even back in the days when he was got that Academy Award nomination for Marty.
Yeah.
He looked like an old man then, and he was probably
20s.
Late 20s. He was probably in his 20s
Yeah.
when he made that. It's a great movie, by the way. But Yeah, he looked like an old man.
Danny DeVito always looked like an old man.
Yeah, American Military, and I was gonna bring him up too. Steve Martin. He's like one of those guys who looked like old since the 80s.
Well, he had white hair
and
in
he
his
looks
20s.
the same. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
But like I said, in a way, it sucks for you when you're younger.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, no, I'm not 50. I'm actually only 28 or whatever it is. But then, like, when you get older, I think you, like, appreciate it more because you still look the same. She's like, oh, my God, you haven't changed in, like, 30 years. But that's because you looked old when you were younger.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a trade-off, I guess. I was going to mention Steve Martin, too. Because that shit, I remember seeing him in The Man with Two Brains. When the fuck did that come out? Early 80s, like 82, 83, something like that. I love that movie. If you haven't seen it, by the way, we reviewed it like a long time ago. And he looked like kind of old in that movie.
Yeah.
Even though he's probably only in his 30s.
Cess, don't fucking do Ozempic. No. That shit hasn't been around long enough to have a proven track record. Go online. If you contact me, you got my contact. All right, contact me on fucking Facebook or Instagram, and I'll show you where you want clenbuterol. It's a lot cheaper, a lot fewer side effects, and faster acting, and more proven. It's been around for fucking 50 years. And that's what Hollywood actually uses, not Ozempic.
And like I said,
They
I
use
think
fucking
it was.
Glen.
I don't know if it was originally developed as that, but it was usually prescribed as an
It was a decongestant. We're not
like an allergy drug or
allergy
like
medicine.
for asthma.
Asthma.
Because I was given albuterol probably like 20 years ago for like an asthma or like coughing fits.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing.
And a woman can take clenbuterol as a standalone pill. You don't need anything else with it, and you'll drop fat. It's also an appetite suppressant. It'll make you a little bit jittery, but it's not an upper. It's a beta 2 agonist, which goes into the beta receptors and fucking tells your body to do things like get blood flowing, and one of the side effects is it tells your body to start consuming fat. You don't take that much, but you can take it over an extended period of time and you'll slowly lose weight. You can be on it for years if you want to be, and it doesn't diminish in its potency. Some people think it does. Just the side effects, you kind of adapt to it, and the side effects kind of fade into the background. You don't notice it as much.
Yeah, and like I said, I haven't been on it that long. The only side effects I've noticed were twitchy eyelid and occasional like super dizziness.
Yeah,
which I kind of had a little bit before.
Yeah,
it's a lot more pronounced because I have like really low blood pressure just naturally.
Yeah.
So it does exacerbate that a little bit, but not to an extent where it's like alarming or anything.
You just there are international brokers out there that will accept cryptocurrency as payment, and they'll deliver it right to your house because it's over the counter in most countries.
Yeah, that's the thing. You just can't get it over the counter here.
Right.
But you can get it sort of legally.
Yeah.
Like, you know. Yeah, Xana said Jack Nicholson was old in The Shining. Yeah, he was another one that, I mean, and I even saw him in like that Roger Corman movie, The Terror, back in the fucking 60s. He was in Little Shop of Horrors too, the original one. And he kind of looked old back then. Yeah.
Says Sidetrack, she left already. That's that army girl. She's on Ozempic. She says it did she's still on it, but she says that like does terrible shit to your fucking your guts. You know what I mean? And like your fucking digestive system.
See, I don't need that.
So,
I already have problems with that.
You're crapping your fucking lungs out and shit. It's not that well proven. I would just go with what was fucking proven, man. Fucking either albuterol, which is too expensive. I'd just get fucking black market clenbuterol. Or gray market clenbuterol. Fucking works great.
Yeah, I mean, you've lost a lot of fat on it. I've lost some fat on it. It's like it's like flattened my stomach out.
Yeah, and if you take 120 micrograms, which is usually 3 pills, and you're working out, a woman.
Hey, it's Pookie.
It does things anabolically in terms of muscle building. You'll lose fat and you'll build muscle. Kind of like you took 10 milligrams of Anavar a day. The guys have compared it to that. It does build muscle, but it's not a steroid. It just has kind of like a weird steroidal effect. If you work out, for some reason you build more muscle and lose fat. on it. Not a whole lot. I wouldn't notice it because I'm on so much shit. You know what I mean? I'm on a shit ton of stuff. It wouldn't even put a dent on what I'm doing. But if you're a woman and you're not taking much, a lot of these fitness models that you're seeing with the females with the abs and they're fucking doing bikini girl competitions and shit, that's clen, not steroids, clen. Now, if she's got a fucking really big fucking legs, big muscular ass, that's clen and steroids. But steroids alone will just make you look really fucking shredded, and it'll take time. But not that long.
Did she come pull all the books?
Yeah, she come in and turn shit up. She's probably out of treats. She does that shit when she's out of treats.
Yeah, she came in and just like pulled a bunch of books out of the bottom shelf of my bookshelf. Just like pulled them all out, and then she like walked off like, okay, my work here is done. So she's probably out of treats in the other room, and she's like, hey, just thought I would come in and like inform you. She's mad because you're not sitting there giving her meat sticks.
Yeah, she's got treats. She just getting pissed off.
Yeah, she's like, you guys are not paying attention to me. You're not sitting in the bed feeding me meat sticks like you usually do. Because Daddy Wolf is just... Yeah. She'll jump up on the bed and he'll like give her them... He'll hold the meat stick there and she'll just like lick it. But like I said, if you put it down, she gets like super mad. Yeah, I haven't heard much good about Ozempic. Like I said, I don't know a huge amount about it, but... yeah, Zeta said it. I knew someone who took Ozempic. It was terrible for them. Messes with your sleep, apparently, and all sorts of shit.
Victor's saying that Danny DeVito looked young. Man, Danny DeVito was in fucking One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and he looked old then.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was back in the 70s.
Yeah.
He was on Taxi. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That was also in the 70s. God damn, we're old. That's all right, though. I don't mind it. You know?
What's that?
Getting old.
There's no choice.
Well, I know there's no choice, but it's just kind of like, I know like a lot of people are like, oh man, you know what I mean? Well, we were kind of talking about this a little bit when we were watching The Substance, and you know, the power went out, so we had to wait for it to come back on, and we're kind of sitting in the theater. And I was thinking to myself, I said, I think the reason that, because I don't want to spoil too much about the movie because we're going to talk about it on Monday, but I think the reason that I wouldn't have the same reaction as like Demi Moore's character had.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm a woman, you know what I mean? So it's just kinda like you're always gonna compare yourself. Like, you know, she's younger than me, she's hotter than me, she's this, she's thinner, whatever. You're always gonna do that. That's just how it goes, and that sucks. We don't like it, but that's how you think. So you're always gonna do that. But I think the reason that it doesn't bother me as much as maybe other people is that I wasn't super hot when I was a teenager or in my 20s or anything like that. You know what I mean?
So for you, it was like a progressive build.
Right. So for me, it wasn't kind of like, oh, I was super hot in my
and then I lost the shit.
And then I lost it. Like I got too old.
Right.
Like it wasn't really like that. Like I was kind of like a loner, nerdy. I wasn't nerdy. Like I was cute, but I was kind of heavy when I was a teenager. Like, I lost a bunch of weight in my 20s, but I had gotten married by that point. And so, it's not like I was, like, up in the dating scene or anything like that. So, it's just kind of like, I didn't really have that experience of, you know, being this hot young teenager that did all this stuff. And then, you know, when you're 30, like, everyone stopped paying attention to you. I didn't really have that experience. So, it's not the same... I don't know. So it wasn't really the same kind of thing. Like, I kind of never thought of stuff like that anyway. Like, in those terms.
Yeah.
And so it just seemed like I didn't really care about what age I was. I just cared about, well, do I look like pretty good or passable or whatever at this age? Like I said, you're always going to compare yourself to other people because that's just
read what Seth,
how it is.
Read what Seth just said.
Where?
Right there.
In Australia, we have actually made Ozempic only for diabetics now. But we have a similar weight loss drug called Wegovy? But it's $400 a month.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
I'd rather just starve.
You can get clenbuterol delivered to your house. One single package of it with about 100 pills. 100 pills. Probably about $80, $80 or $90, 100 pills, and that'd be That'd be $50, or that'd be 50 days worth if you were taking a decent dose, about 2 pills a day. So, and if you buy three or 4 packs, the prices go down. So whenever I make an order to my brokers, my orders are probably anywhere between $170 to $300. Because I'm going to be on this for 3 months, so I might as well fucking get the discount rate and fucking buy 3 or 4 packages of this shit. You know what I mean? Where it goes down, the prices go down. So I'll just do that. But for $400 a month, fuck no.
I couldn't afford that even if I wanted to.
And Clan has a fucking proven track record. It's been around for 50 fucking years. It's got an excellent safety margin. No one's reported ever dying from the shit. It's just and it's just been used for years. It's Hollywood's been using it. Everybody uses it. So just I'd use clenbuterol.
Like I said, I'm not worried about it.
It's been around forever. The reason why these drug companies don't sell it is because they don't have a patent on it. The patent's run up. Anybody can fucking copy that drug now, and generics are everywhere. And that's what I'm buying. I'm buying generic versions of it. A big drug industry wants to sell you a new drug that they have a patent on, and it's huge commissions. And it probably doesn't work as well as the old stuff. And man, like take Clan. Yeah.
Now Jeffy Art says, I'm on Ozempic, and so far I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
I can't eat bread, and I crave protein and fat at night. So far my bowels are fine. I also fill up fast. However, I'm on week 3, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, everybody's different, so everyone's going to react to it. Victor says, getting old gives me anxiety. I just saw a pic of Lori Beth Denberg from All That, and she looks old as fuck. I always picture her as a teenager. Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of like a whole... Look, I have anxiety issues about a lot of things. But for whatever reason, I've never really had anxiety about that. Like I said, I guess because I feel like I didn't have like some big heyday when I was younger. Like I said, I wasn't some like little hot young thing that was like, I was cute and everything, but it's just like, I don't know. I guess it wasn't the same for me as it was for other people.
A lot of times, the cutest girl in high school, you see her fucking 10 years later, and she's unrecognizable.
Well, I kind of noticed that because like when I was at school, and I think I even kind of realized that at the time, I was just kind of like all the hot popular girls at school. I'm like, 10 years from now, you're going to be like a fat sow that's like working at something because you had like 3 kids or something like that.
Yeah, they have a bunch of kids real quick.
So I didn't deliberately, I just thought that, well, that's usually what happens. But like I said, like I was kind of like a chubby, cute, but chubby, like not super popular. Like I just hung out with the punk rock kids, you know what I mean? And that's like kind of all I worried about. Yeah. So I didn't really worry about all that kind of stuff. So I kind of feel like I didn't have that experience, so I didn't feel like I lost anything.
Victor talks about those 2 drugs right there. Read what he says.
Well, okay, but there was other stuff that I had to talk about, but okay. Victor said, Wegovy and Ozempic are the exact same drug. They're just branded for either diabetes or weight loss.
You could.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, I don't know. Like I said, so that was one of the things, and I've kind of gone, I got married young, like in my early 20s, and I was married for a long time, like 14 years. And over that time, like I actually like lost a lot of weight and like I looked pretty good and all this other kind of stuff. But then as time went on, I kind of got sick of the motherfucker. And then after we decided to divorce, I said, well, I'm going to, because I had gained a few pounds over the course of the marriage because it was 14 years. And I was like, well, I'm going to like lose even more weight. So I got like super skinny. And then suddenly I got all kind of attention. And like, so in my mid to late 30s, I had kind of like a second teenagehood, I guess. Like, you know what I mean? That I didn't really get in my teenage years, like to any great extent. So I just kind of went, it's like, man, I'm just going to go hog wild. Like after I got divorced or separated. So I just kind of like went out and had all the fun that I didn't have much of when I was a teenager. Yeah. But, it got old pretty fast, I'm going to say. It was fun though. But so I don't know. So I guess like the situation isn't the same as a girl that was like super, super hot, like all through their youth. and then started getting older, and then everyone started treating them like a piece of shit. But that does happen.
Yeah.
So I can get why that would be depressing, but I didn't really
It's
have
like
that
that
same
old
experience.
fucking song "Glory Days." Who did
Yeah.
that shit? Fucking
Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce Springsteen. His shit is so fucking cringy.
Well, and
Bruce
I'm not. And another thing, and we've talked about this too, is like I'm not a super nostalgic person. I don't like I had fun in high school and my 20s and stuff like that. Like I did this and that and the other, but I'm not one to like dwell on, oh man, remember back in the old days when we went to this show, back when like I don't really do that. I'm just like, well, that's gone now.
Well, it's because we constantly built on shit.
Yeah, it's like I'm having fun now.
Yeah.
So I don't. He's like, yeah, that was fun back then, but it's like I don't look back like, oh man, I'm not having any fun now. Like I wish I was still back then, because I'm still having fun now.
Yeah.
Like I'm still making stuff. We're still going out. So I don't feel like I have to look back on that with like regret.
Well, it's like you go to the fucking biker bar, and you'll have these guys. Some of them older than me, some of them younger than me, sitting there fucking pounding their chests over fucking what they did in the army. You know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, okay, man, I know what you're talking about, but I was a kid when I was doing that shit. That was a long time ago, you know.
That's what I mean. It's like
a bunch of shit happened after that. You know what I mean?
It's just to me.
It's good.
To me, that's kind of like those dudes that are like
talking about the
football players, like back. Yeah, you know what I was gonna say. Like back in high school, and they're still talking about it, like in their 40s and 50s. Like, bitch, that was a long time. I don't even remember most of the shit that happened in high school. I don't remember most of those people. I mean, the people that I liked in high school, I still have them on my Facebook. The rest of the people I don't give a shit about.
You know, we're here in Florida. Here, you're gonna run into a lot of old retired people. And, you know, we'll go to the fucking Chinese restaurant and you'll see some old codger. He's in his fucking late 70s. And he's wearing his fucking Navy or fucking Army hat with all this veteran shit on it. And I'm looking at the dude and I'm going, dude, you know, that's cool and all. But that was a long time ago, man. And you were a kid.
Yeah, like, don't live in the past,
Why are you still worried about that?
You can do cool shit now.
Yeah, yeah.
There's all kind of shit you could do.
Right. I look at that shit and I think it's kind of sad, you know. Fucking, that's why
it is kind of sad.
I hate going to the VA fucking hospitals and shit.
I've gone with him a couple of times. I get it.
Go there, you know. The younger guys aren't really quite like that.
No.
But the older guys, especially the World War II, Korea, Vietnam, now
they're still
stuck in those days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Look, I love the 80s, like the music and stuff like that as much, but I wouldn't want to go back there. And it's just like I'm not like stuck in it.
Yeah. But I'll see
like, I wish we could go back to no thanks.
Yeah. But I'll see a guy walking around with his fucking veteran hats and all his fucking medals and shit on there, and he's walking like he's still fucking PFC. You're a private first class or maybe a fucking E5 or something, you know what I mean? Back in Vietnam, and you made E5 in 2 years back in those days, you know, and yeah, you did some cool shit, but come on, what have you done lately?
Yeah, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah, what did you do after that? You know what I mean? Cause,
that's what. Yeah, well, see, that's another thing is that they haven't done anything since then.
Yeah.
That's why they have to keep.
That's why they keep going back there,
harping back on that. And like I said, that's what's sad about it to me is that you haven't done anything cool since then.
Yeah.
What have you done cool since then?
You start talking to them and they
tell me about that.
You start talking to them and they go back to those times. Yeah, I'm like, oh man.
That's so sad though because it's just kind of like,
that was like 1970.
That's what I mean. It's like I wasn't even born then, and I'm old. It's like there's so much cool shit you could be doing like right now.
Yeah.
Why do you want to like linger? Like why do you want to dwell on it? That was a long time ago.
There's so many millennial veterans, and some of them I think might even be Gen Z. I think came out of the army, out of Afghanistan. Fucking SideQuest hero, she's one of them. She was in Afghanistan. And it's because they just ran the army into the fucking ground the past fucking 25 years. I look at the army now, man, it's not the same army I was in. It's just a shadow of its former self. It's just, you know, it's pitiful. Fucking, they just ran those people into the ground, just kept deploying them over and over again, and the fucking pool of recruits got smaller and smaller because who wants to get involved in a fucking an imperial law enforcement mission?
People got fucking smarter.
Where you're trying, none of that shit had anything
to do. They clued in. They're like, yeah, no thanks.
None of that shit had anything to do with helping the American people or the American government or the country. It had nothing to do with that. It was just to keep rich guys on little child islands. Rich guys in the fucking military-industrial complex, all the contractors and stuff.
Do your own thing,
That's
man.
all it was about.
Don't fucking...
And to keep politicians making money, kickbacks off all these fucking... kickbacks off all these contracts, military contracts to fucking make aircraft or tanks or other obsolete fucking equipment. The whole thing just kind of became a scam. It's scamified. You know? There should not be an imperial army trying to make a world government. That's ridiculous, especially not in today's age. Everybody has all about the same technology now. You know, America doesn't have the advantages. America had an attitude that every other country outside of the American sphere was a third world developing nation that's subordinate to us. You can go to some of these poor countries and they're fucking better off than we are. They got nicer cities and shit. You know,
True.
it's just
not
not
so
what
much.
it was. There, everybody's caught up.
Phantom asks, what kind of cake did you have for your birthday, Jenny? Actually, Tom got me a key lime pie.
Got a key lime pie, not a cake. Yeah.
Yeah, you know it's because honestly, I was watching Gordon Ramsay Uncharted, like the new season of that, and he was in Key West, and he was talking to this guy that wrote like this book about key lime pie, and he was like he made like a mug version of it, like an old school version
In a mug, yeah.
in a mug, and I was like, man, I haven't had a key lime pie in a long time. And I guess Tom heard that.
It sounded good, yeah.
Because he came back like from the store and he's like, I got you a key lime pie.
Yeah.
I was just like, bitch, what?
See, I don't like cake. I think the frosting is too...
Now I love cake and pie. I'm not
Yeah.
team cake or team pie. I will eat either.
I don't like cake because the frosting's too sweet.
Oh, I'll eat all the cake.
There's a cake
I'll eat
that-
all your cake and all your pie.
There is a
too.
cake that we get that has whipped cream and fruit on the outside of it. I like that.
That's what I got for your birthday. It's
Yeah.
kind of Publix makes it. What the fuck is it called? It's like it's got.
I forgot what it was called.
It's like a very light whipped cream
Chantilly
frosting
or something.
I think it's called chantilly or something,
Yeah.
and it's got like strawberries,
Kiwis,
kiwi, like maybe orange slices.
something.
Is there
Yeah.
orange slices on it or
That's
something?
good. Well,
Or
I went
grapes.
down. I went there and they didn't have any of them.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, shit, I'll just come up with another cake. And they had different kind of birthday cakes. But, man, they all looked really fucking sweet. And
I mean, I do like the cannoli cake that they have. I think I
Okay.
had that a couple years
I
ago.
almost got a carrot cake, but I wasn't sure you liked carrot
Oh,
cake.
okay. I love carrot cake.
Okay, I almost got that.
Like I said, it's hard to... I pretty much love all cake and all pie.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
I like some more than others, but I
Yeah.
will not turn down pretty much anything.
I saw that key lime pie sitting there and was like, man, that looks
And
good.
I was just thinking about that because of the
That
Gordon
looks good.
Ramsay show. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
I haven't had a key lime pie in a long time. That does
Yeah,
sound kind
and
of
that
good.
last slice is in there is for you.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna eat that
really
later. Yeah, American Military 100 said nostalgic reverie is a boomer thing. Yeah, I think it might be. I don't. I never understood, like, why when you're 50, 60, 70 years old, why are you still like trading on stuff that happened decades ago? Like, what have you done since then? Like, have you done anything since then that like you thought was cool, or haven't you had any good experiences since then? Or like, that's really sad to me that because there's so much shit you could be doing. There's so many possibilities out there, and the fact that you don't do that or you don't see that, it's like that's really sad.
And I'm in contact with most of the guys from my old unit, and 95% of them, I wouldn't serve with them now in the condition that they're in. You know what I mean? My old AG Sparks, his name was Sparks, he's still fucking a badass though. And he was a badass back then. He was about 6'4", 6'2", fucking towered over me. He still looks fucking good, but he's a car salesman at a top one at one of the dealerships, but he still works out. You know, but most of those dudes are just, man, they put on a lot of bad weight, man.
I kind of feel like it does. A lot of people go like that. They're just kind of
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm this age. Like, I got
They don't
married, I
care.
had
They
kids,
just-
and they just stop giving a shit.
Yeah, and
Which
then you
is really
die, man.
sad.
And the shit kills you.
Man, I never wanted to
Yeah.
be like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not like real into, I don't even really like working out or anything. I just do it like so I don't get fat, but it's just kind of like, I don't understand just like sitting on your ass and not doing anything. I would feel like a huge bum.
Yeah, reminiscent about the old days. Yeah,
They're gone, man.
Yeah,
They're gone. Like, yeah, it was
that
fun.
would put me in
But that was a long time ago.
and that would put me in a very negative state.
Me too.
To where,
Like, and I don't really get it.
Yeah,
And like I said, I don't get it Because even, like, sometimes, like, you'll be like, oh, back then, like, this, that, and the other. And like, shit, I don't even remember. I don't remember. Because it wasn't, like I said, it's gone now. Yeah, it was fun, but that was a long time ago. Like, what are we doing now?
Yeah.
Let's do some good shit now. I don't know.
Yeah, Xander, this is what Xander says about old people thinking.
Yeah, they came from a generation where you had kids and die. That's all. Yeah.
You had kids, you went and got a job and worked for the man until you retired and then you died.
It almost seemed like, and I've seen this from, because I don't know if, like, because I've said I love this subreddit, like, Boomers Are Fools or whatever, and it's, like, super funny. But I've experienced it myself with that age group. They seem to have they came from a time period, I guess, where it was just, like, expected. You know, you got married pretty young, you started pumping kids out, you got a job, you had that job, like, for most of your life, then you retired, and that's just kind of, like, what you were. And I don't think they were all that introspective about it, I guess. Or even if they wanted more, they didn't know how to articulate that, or they didn't know... Maybe there weren't any avenues for them to explore that, maybe. So it's just kind of like, oh, well, this is just what you do. This is what everyone does, so we're going to do it. Even if I don't really like it, or it's not really making me happy, but this is what you do. This is what everyone does, so this is what we're going to do. You know what I mean? It was very conformist. And, like, I don't get that. I don't really get that. Like, why would you just want to live the way everyone says you should just because that's what everyone does? It's like... I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? Why the fuck would I do that if I don't want to do that? So, I mean, shit, I decided back in the fucking 1980s when I was a teenager, I'm like, you know what? I honestly didn't think I was ever going to get married either. Like when I was a teenager, I definitely knew I didn't want kids. And it wasn't because, I mean, I think it was because I was around a lot of kids when I was younger. Like, I have 3 younger siblings who are all delightful. I love all of my siblings. They're all awesome. But I had a whole bunch of cousins, and, like, my parents and my aunt and uncle, they ran a daycare. And I, you know, kind of was there all the time. So it's just kind of like, so I was around children all the time. Like, when I was a child and from a teenager, I'm like, this sucks. I don't want any of this. I don't want this. So I decided, like, pretty young. And I told my mom this, I think, when I was 16. I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm ever going to have kids. I'm not into it. And she's like, oh, you'll change your mind when you get older. I never did, though. I never did that. I'm like, nah, not for me. So I thought about it for a little while. Like, when I was married to my first husband, we were like, well, do we really want to do that? And he's like, not really. And I'm like, yeah, not really. Neither of us really wanted to do that. So we never did, thankfully. But I don't know. It's just I never felt the need to conform to some weird, and I think that was very much a boomer thing.
Yeah,
like we're gonna conform to this standard, this ideal, and I don't really see the point of that.
They're very corporate, very conformist.
I don't see the point of that.
Everybody had to do the same thing, especially up north. Who was it that asked me about Bautista anyway? I forgot who that was.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
But they were asking me about what do I think of Bautista coming off all that shit and getting small like that. I just wanted to also point out that he's not off that shit. He's just taking a lot less. He's still on testosterone at least. Probably testosterone, probably primo or deca. He just takes a lot less. If he were to come off everything, you were to look at him now, he'd look like a little old man within about 2 years. So no, he's still on. He just adjusted his shit way back. Which, that's what I would do. That's what you do.
Yeah, Xana said, I don't think the younger generations are that way. I hope they're not. It does seem that starting with Gen X, which is what we are, like, forward, it does seem like we saw with the boomers, we were like, yeah, we don't really want to do that. We kind of just want to do our own thing. There doesn't have to be any rules that everybody has to... These little boxes that everybody has to be fit into. So I kind of think it's a lot cooler that nowadays you don't really have that as much. And, you know, now that you have, you know, the technology that we have available to us nowadays, like, it's a lot better than it was when we were growing up, even because there's, like, so much more opportunity and so much more availability of, like, doing your own shit without, I mean, it's hard still, but, you know, there's a lot more possibility there than, like, when I was a kid. And when they were kids, they, you know, you pretty much had to just get a job at a company and support your family and blah, 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 and all that other kind of crap. Everybody had to kind of do the same thing. But I'm glad that it's not like that anymore, because that sounds like a fucking nightmare.
Another thing about the old world that younger people don't realize is that all your information was coming from basically 3 or 4 television channels. And it was highly controlled. Everybody was experiencing the same world. It's not like that anymore now with the internet. Everybody's experiencing their own little custom tailored world. There isn't a shared culture in the same way that there was. And that might be a good thing, because the centralization of information and the centralization of power is very dangerous. You know, they can control what you see and what you hear, and that controls what you think. So they could fill the airwaves back in the day, which they did, with bullshit and propaganda, and then get you mad at some country that had nothing to do with us and get you to go off at war with some other country. Yeah, back in those days. And then everybody would think it was normal because everybody was doing it. You know, it's not really like that anymore. Everything's becoming like a network society. It's spread out.
I like it a lot better, honestly.
So, yeah, networking is what it is. You don't want rich people to have a monopoly on information. They are too dangerous. You only become rich by being a predator, and those are the last people you should listen to. They were talking about, Xander was saying, yeah, I don't see anybody queuing up or lining up to go fight Iran right now. Because they're pushing hard, they're pushing hard for a war against Iran. They're saying the Iranians are trying to kill Trump, so all you Trump supporters need to join the army, because nobody's joining right now. That ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. The federal government doesn't have the credibility it once had, and younger generations don't see it as anything important. And I grew up with the shit, and I don't really see it as a legitimate thing anymore. It's just it's a bunch of, and I know a lot about it. I've worked for it. It's a bunch of competing offices, bureaucrats that run fiefdoms in there, trying to protect their own budgets. They're just trying to keep their grift going, and that's all it is a grift. If you got rid of that federal government, probably most of these states would start fucking making a lot of money, because people would be able to drill their oil and be able to open up businesses in their countries and mine the land that they fucking have in each one of these states. The main basic thing of government is the state government, not these feds. So those feds are corrupt. Some of the states are too, though. But, the age of empire is over. If they go out and try to tell Iran what to do and go fuck around, they're gonna fuck around and find out. And if they show up with a fucking second or third rate military, which that's what you have now, they're gonna get their fucking asses blown up by little store-bought drones.
Fullman on Nosferatu says, I chose to never have kids of my own because everyone said I couldn't be me and like metal music, horror movies, tattoos, or go out for drinks, etc. And I felt, no way, I'm happier this way. I have a family, however, my fiance, her son, and our dog, and our late fur babies. Life is good. Yeah, honestly, like I said, I got married young, like when I was 22, but I decided pretty young that I didn't want children, and that really never changed. I considered it maybe for 5 seconds, like when I was married the first time, and I was just kind of like, nah, it doesn't really sound like all that fun, and I just didn't want to do that. And like I said, I was into fucking horror movies and clubbing and stuff like that. I never really felt that you couldn't have kids and do that, because we know a lot of people we know that go to the club have kids.
Yeah.
And some of them are grown and will come to the club with their parents.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Well, they're not coming with their parents.
But they'll come like
they'll be there the same night with like a boyfriend or something.
So, yeah, because we're old enough that a lot of our friends are like, have
their
kids that
grown.
are like, you know, in their 20s. So it's like, so they'll come with their significant others or whatever. But it's just kind of like, I don't know. So the fact that you're kind of like thought, it's not so much like this anymore, but like back in the 80s and even into the 90s, they were kind of like, yeah, if you're into all that shit, it's like, I don't know. It was kind of felt like you were kind of looked down upon. Like if you had kids, if you looked like that, or what are you teaching them and all this other kind of crap. And it's just kind of like, I don't know.
That world's gone though now.
It is. And I'm glad.
Yeah.
It's like, I hated that even back then. And I'm just glad that that's disappeared. Like, I know, like, old people like to piss and moan about it. Oh, these kids today and blah, blah, blah. But I'm not like that. It's, like, way better. It's way better
They didn't do that well. Who are they to talk? They didn't.
That's what I mean.
It's
It's way better nowadays.
They didn't do that well.
It was just, like, so... I mean, I love a lot of things about the 80s, but it was like, man, you really got shit on if you were different.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s. Like, shit, people would throw bottles at me from cars and shit like that. That doesn't usually happen nowadays. John Gora said, I never wanted kids. I realized what an asshole I was very young. I feel bad that my parents had to suffer like that for me. I don't even know if it was that, and I don't even know if it was necessarily selfishness or anything like that. It was just that I saw, because my mom loves kids. She had 4, because I have 3 siblings, and, you know, she babysat a bunch of kids. She had a daycare. She had a daycare in her house, like, later, like, when I was growing up, like, when my sister was really little. We had kids in our house that she watched. And so I grew up around a lot of children, and my mom was, like, super into it.
Yeah, some women are all about having
and I was
babies
just kind of like,
See,
this is why I know that it's not instinctual, because, like, I do not have that instinct. I'm sorry. I have no desire at all. I never had any desire at all for that, any of that.
John Gore says it's harder to be different now. I don't think so.
I don't know about that, though. I don't think it is. I think it was harder then because people had no frame of reference, and so anyone that was even a little bit, you didn't even have to be that different.
It might depend on where you live.
That's true.
Some of these places that are fucking real hard off into this cancel culture shit. If you don't think the way they do, then you're a bad person. And if I don't think the way you do and I'm a bad person, then I guess I am a bad person. Go over here, I'll fucking slap you in the fucking face. I don't really care what somebody...
See, but the thing about that is not, like, look, I grew up in the 80s.
Yeah.
All of that stuff that people cry about oh, I'm being canceled and all this, like, that's, look, you're probably being canceled because you're a dick, okay? And it's like, that's called the consequences of your actions.
Well, it depends on who it is you're talking about.
I mean, it depends, yeah, but I'm just saying, largely, that's what it is. People are crying about it. The crying victim, and they're not a victim. But it's just kind of like,
well, I don't know, man. These are people that are in high school. And because you slept with the wrong person, they're fucking talking about...
Yeah, I'm not saying that doesn't... But that happened back in the 80s, too.
Yeah, but now they're doing it online.
That happened in the 80s, too.
There's all kinds of weird
But like
shit.
I said, there's... You know, in a way, I like better, like, the way it is now. But there's a dark side to it, too. Like, now everybody knows everybody's business because it's all online. Which, like I said, that's probably not great. But, I mean, everybody kind of knew your shit back then, too. But it just wasn't...
Yeah.
Global, because now it's like everybody sees that shit and it could go viral and everybody in the world could see it.
Yeah.
Like, that wouldn't happen in the 80s, but it was still kind of like on a smaller scale, that would still kind of happen back then.
We're Gen X. We really didn't care what other people thought. So we were kind of live and let live type of people.
I'm kind of glad that
if somebody was a religious fanatic, we were like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. If somebody was a real political activist about something, I didn't really give a fuck about that. Very indifferent about everything. Gen X is known for being real self-centered in a certain way, fucking, and like skeptical and cynical.
I don't think it's self-centered. It's just that,
cynical.
Just very cynical.
Yeah.
But understandably cynical.
Yeah, we would question other people's motives.
We have a reason for it.
Yeah, they're like, oh, is that what you... Okay, yeah.
I wouldn't call myself self-centered. I just think that...
That's not a bad thing, though.
Well, no, but...
That's not a bad thing.
But I think that has a bad connotation. What I'm saying is that I think that we have seen through... Because we see through everyone's bullshit.
Yeah.
Because that was kind of like a defining trait. We see through everyone's bullshit, so we're just kind of like, oh, okay, what does this person want from me? Yeah. Like, why are they saying this?
It's because we were being lied to by fucking boomers. And
this
generation.
I think the fact that we were raised by boomers...
Yeah, just lied to. Yeah.
I think probably fucked us up. But I think it also helped us in a lot of ways. Because we see all of the bullshit... all the manipulative, weird, psychological shit that they pulled on us when we were growing up. Yeah. Not so much my family, but just in general, like generationally.
Society itself tried to manipulate, and teachers would try to manipulate you.
But the fact that you just had that, and you were just kind of like, yeah, nah.
I've heard that Gen Z is a lot more like Gen X. That that they don't believe the bullshit either, and they want to find out for themselves, and that people are lying to them, you know. And I'm not Gen Z. I don't really live your life, but chances are they are lying to you. Chances are, because that's just what they did.
I mean, I suspect
authority figures lied constantly.
Well, I honestly, ever since I could remember, I just like trusted no one.
Yeah.
I thought everyone had ulterior motives.
Yeah.
Right?
No, they do.
I mean, I don't. But I
people lied to you.
But I suspected that most other people did, because I said, well, most other people are not.
Boomers lied to us because it was in their interest for us to do what they said. It wasn't in our interest. It was in their interest.
Realized that. We're like, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
We know why you're saying that.
Yeah. Because it would benefit them.
Yeah.
That's, you know.
And like and their shit was like so transparent.
It's fucking transparent. They weren't even very good liars.
No, I think that's probably what it was.
Yeah.
We saw like how shitty liars were. They were like, we're not listening to that. John Robertson said, as a Gen Z, yes, I can confirm we have a similar mindset to Gen X.
Yeah, they're lying to you.
Yeah, but like I said, it's pretty obvious. Yeah. But I think we were the first ones. I think it was because we were raised by boomers. And boomers, not all of them obviously, but generally, they seemed like kind of sociopathic a little bit.
Yeah, they only cared about themselves.
And I think that became very apparent to their children, who is our generation.
The weird thing about the boomers is that they thought anybody who was younger than them was their servant. That you were there to serve them.
Never really well, they still act like that.
Yeah, and then you're like, what the fuck?
Have you ever seen them like go in a fucking restaurant?
Yeah. Or
some shit like that?
Yeah.
Oh man, everybody better fucking bow down.
Yeah.
To Karen.
There was like a hierarchy. Their thinking was very much in a
hierarchical, which I don't. I don't have
people that were younger than them, and this is evidently in a lot of other cultures. Japan's like that. A lot of Eastern cultures are like that, where older people are constantly in command and they kind of order young people around.
Yeah.
They did that shit to us when we were kids. We're like, man, fuck you. I'm not doing that shit.
No thanks.
And I was a teenager, and adults would tell me to do something like, What's in it for me? Right. I'm not. I don't know you. You're just a random dude at IHOP. I don't fucking. Fuck you. So
like I said, if you please go on the subreddit Boomers Being Fools, and there are like fucking horror stories on there. Yeah. I don't know how many of them are real, but I believe a lot of them because I've had like similar interactions with that age group. Like people be like, look, I was just in the fucking grocery store minding my own fucking beeswax, and like some old man. Usually, or some old lady come up and like, you have to do this and help me. It's like, bitch, I don't work here.
Yeah.
And then they get like all fucking upset. I'm gonna talk to your manager. I don't work here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, but they don't believe it. They think that everybody younger than them, nobody wants to work nowadays. You blue-haired liberals and blah blah blah. Like it's just like they'll go off like that, and they're just like, look, I'm just trying to buy some sugar. Okay,
I don't work for you. Yeah.
I don't work here. Yeah. I'm just shopping like you are. Please calm down. But it's just kind of like they feel like everyone should just like serve them.
Yeah, and Jen said she didn't like the term self-centered. I'm going to go ahead and embrace this. Self-centered. I was self-centered because Gen X tended to be survivors. Okay. And kind of like, in a way, lone survivors.
Well, we
couldn't trust anybody.
You got left alone a lot. Yeah, we were kind of like latchkey kids.
Right, and fucking...
Which some kids in the 90s were, too.
Yeah, we weren't raised by humans. We were fucking feral. We were outside all day.
Largely.
Yeah.
Although I spent a lot of time with my grandma, so I was like completely feral, but,
And so just... so yeah, I was self-centered. I worried about myself. And people that... My friends who were also... Gen X now, you know what I mean? Everybody else was kind of like Gen X kind of had a us versus them mentality. That's where all those little teen movies came from, like Breakfast Club and shit like that. All of us kind of had a us versus them mentality. Because our teachers were boomers. And some of them were cool, but a lot of them weren't. And then like when you were in public, most of the people that were in restaurants with you and shit like that were just boomers. And they were real fucking corporate, real samey. They were all about the same, It's like they came from the same culture. Like they all came off the same assembly line, a lot of them.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
And it's just like Xanada said, is that for them, life was planned out in advance
Yeah.
You did certain things, and it was
and you
kinda
had
like,
to do it this
and you do it
particular way.
Yeah, and it was kind of like moving up in levels.
Yeah.
And then you got to a point where you were old, and then you died.
Yeah,
And
and that was how you were supposed to do it.
Right. And what's funny is that was the way that was the world the boomers believed in, because that's what the greatest generation told them. That's what they promised them. But their lives didn't turn out that way. The thing that they were telling us to do never happened. By the time the 80s and 90s rolled around, their world was falling apart because they started to outsource all their jobs to China. So you couldn't go to work for a company and work for that company your entire fucking life and then get retirement and get off and have all these benefits and raise grandchildren and shit like that. It wasn't going to happen because everybody became disposable. But the boomers grew up they grew up seeing the world through basically corporate what do you call it, propaganda. Corporations promised them a life that never really happened for them, although it happened a little bit more commonly for the greatest generation. They were coming back from World War II. They got jobs in these companies, and they did kind of take care of them the rest of their lives.
And I mean,
they couldn't let them run around. They'd kill people. They were World War II
you
veterans.
don't hear too many people complaining about greatest generation people, though. I mean, most of them are dead now. But
They were dead, yeah.
But I'm just saying that even back in the day...
According to the boomers, they sucked, though. They were uptight.
Yeah, but
man.
I wouldn't listen to anything.
Probably wasn't true. They said they were uptight, man. We were about peace and love and the 60s shit. And,
Yeah, were they though?
They probably weren't, though. Yeah.
I think that was like a small minority.
Yeah.
Because then I'm not like shitting on all boomers, because some of them are actually like pretty cool, but it does seem like when you say boomer with a capital B, it's not just the age. Because I've known some Gen X people that had very boomer tendencies.
Yeah.
And you could be young and still act like that. You know what I mean? John Gorst makes a good point. But boomers made those 80s teen movies. They did, but... They
were the misfits.
I kind of feel like those were the misfits of the boomer generation. Because like I was saying before, it's like that generation, it's not... Obviously, nothing's a monolith. Yeah. So it's just kind of like... Those were the ones that kind of understood what was going on.
What was happening, right.
Jeff Yard said, I worked at an art supply store, and I can definitely say that all of our more problematic customers were boomers.
Yeah.
Always felt they were entitled to a discount or free art supplies. Yeah, and I get that a lot just like from stories. And I worked in retail too, and it's just like always the old people that would... Because they know that if they cause a scene, then they'll get what they want.
Well, back when they were young, though, if they caused a scene in a store would try to pay them off by giving them something for free and get them out of the store. They used to do that kind of shit back in the 60s and 70s. But that doesn't happen anymore. Even in the 80s, maybe sometimes that would happen. You could complain and maybe get something free.
Yeah.
But that don't happen anymore.
Well, if you have a manager that doesn't want to, who is also old, they're just like, look, just give them some shit so they'll shut up and leave. You know what I mean? But they know that. That's why they caused that fucking problem. Fullmetal Nosferatu says, I got approached in CVS by an old granny, and she's like, you can't say good morning to me? I said, good morning, I don't work here.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I've heard a lot of stories like that. Where, like, you're just in there shopping like a regular-ass person, and some old person's like, you have to help me because blah, blah, blah. And it's like, bitch, I don't work here. Well, you have to help me anyway.
Yeah.
You know? Then they'll get, like, all upset, and they're still, like, reporting. They're going to report you to the manager. It's like, okay.
Yeah, go report me to the manager.
Yeah, go report me to the manager.
Yeah.
They're like, ma'am, he doesn't work here. Yeah. But still, blah, blah, blah. Like, they'll just, like, double down, you know?
Well,
I don't get it.
They come from a cohesive, hierarchical civilization that no longer exists.
Yeah. And like I said, I've never been a big fan of, like, hierarchies, man.
It's very individualistic. Some people might say to a fault, but I don't think so, because very large top-down civilizations and governments are always dictatorial. They dictate to you how to be. Fucking hate that shit. I'm a nonconformist. You know, and I'm a nonconformist, and I was in the military, which is the ultimate of conformity, in a way. But it had a purpose. You know what I mean? And I volunteered for it. But, you know what I mean? I'm just not going to be in a store and just have some old lady take charge of me. You know what I mean? Here, push my cart for me. Make the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, they're not all like that, but there does seem to be... There's enough of them that, like, people complain about it, and it has become, like, a trope.
Yeah.
Like, over time. But, you know. it's a whole thing. All right. So I guess it's getting to be
it's getting late. And we gotta get stuff ready for tomorrow.
I'm kind of hungry,
Yeah.
honestly. Did we eat?
No, we could always drive up to fucking Circle K and get some sandwiches.
Yeah, sure.
I'll see what I have up here.
Maybe we should. Yeah, don't, because you're probably too drunk to drive.
No,
I know
no,
it's not far.
I only had 2 drinks. Yeah, it's just up the
Oh,
street.
that's right. You probably drank a lot less.
Yeah.
Than me.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, I'm kind of starving.
All
I think we ate, but it was like
Yeah.
10 hours ago. Or
I don't
something
really
like
like
that.
cooking. I wouldn't mind just getting some microwave food or something.
All right, that sounds good to me. All right, Jeffrey said think about doing that chimp episode. Like, I've been wanting to do one for a long time. Like I said, I have it in the list, and I put it in the poll a couple times, but it never wins. I think, like, somebody said about it, because we were specifically, I think, talking about that chimp that, like, tore that woman's face off. And, but I was thinking about all the chimps that, like, the one that used to be on Sesame Street, like, back in the 70s and 80s, I think. And I read a book about that chimpanzee, like, what happened, like, to him, like, later in life. And it kind of went into like all these kind of famous chimps that were like in movies and stuff, and how if they're male, like once they turn 7 or 8, you have to like take them to like a zoo or something like that, because they become uncontrollable and they'll like tear your arms off and stuff, and they get like super aggressive. That's why they usually do females, because they're like more chill. But yeah, I think that would make it like a really good show, because I've always been fascinated by chimps that were raised by humans and people that tried to raise chimpanzees like humans. Because remember, there was that guy, I can't remember what their name was, but they had a kid and they also had a chimpanzee, and they wanted to raise them the same, like to see if it would make the chimp talk, or you know what I mean, or see like what would happen. Spoiler alert, it made the kid actually act more like the chimp than vice versa, but which wouldn't be surprising to anyone nowadays, but you know, they were kind of surprised. But yeah, so hopefully you guys have a good weekend. Like I said, come back on Monday. We're going to be talking about The Substance, which we've seen most of, but because of the power outage. But we're going to go this weekend and watch it again and like see the end of it, hopefully. So we're going to talk about that on Monday. So thanks everybody for hanging out with us this Friday evening. Thank you for all your super chats and all of that. We appreciate and love all you guys. And we will see you again on Monday night.